All right. What is going on, family? How y'all doing? I'm gonna let people start getting into the room so that we can go ahead and get started in just a few minutes here. I see one person is already kind of blooming and whatnot. Oh, six people. Okay. So what we're gonna do, before we get started, I'm gonna put my Cash App into the chat. So anybody who wants to send a donation or whatever can do so and can send it to that specifically. But today we got a show. We're going to be talking about the disrespect to black wrestlers recently in WWE. Hey, baby, what's happening? Glad you were able to make it to the live. So I'm gonna let a few more people get up in the space. We got a lot of different stuff to talk about. I'm not going to be on here super long, but I did want to do this topic. For those of you all who are watching and tuning in, I do want to once again apologize that we weren't able to do this on Thursday. I was under the weather. And what I mean by under the weather is I suffered from a really bad migraine and it pushed back everything that I needed to do. And I'm getting into that habit now where it's like if I'm not feeling 100%, I don't try to just push through things and just not be there fully. I want to be fully invested and focused in whatever it is that I am talking about, discussing, and doing with you or anybody else who I'm talking about these things with. Let's see here. Somebody has commented, my ex black woman's obsessed with WWE. Her dumb ass started wearing white supremacist cross logos, thinking it was what she saw in WWE. Wow. Yeah, that's a mess right there. That shit's a mess. Needless to say, I broke up with her. Very strange chick. Yeah, good on you. Yeah, because that is some weird shit. Yeah, that's a sign that there's some Sambos. That there's a Sambo spirit within. So it's a good thing that you did. Um, but yeah, going back though, yeah, I was kind of under the weather. I wasn't feeling too well on that Thursday, and it didn't make sense for me to try to tough that out. It made more sense for me to do it when I was feeling better and also had more time to kind of prepare for our conversation for today. We again do have a lot to talk about when it comes to WWE and their treatment of black wrestlers, and it's kind of piggybacking off of some of the conversations that we recently had. So, Ken Colas. Why you call me Ken Colas? But anyway, so yeah, so today the topic is to kind of piggyback off of the timeline will be maybe within the last 3 weeks or so is probably what we're going to be discussing. Now I may jump out of that a few times to try to talk more about other things that I've seen that kind of are in line with a lot of what's kind of happening with these black wrestlers. So I'm going to be doing that here or there, depending on what is needed. Give me 1 second to kind of pull up some of the stuff that I am going to be talking about. Because as usual, I told y'all I'm big on having notes with me and whatnot for things to talk about. Need Obafemi and SmackDown. Let's be real. Even if Obafemi was on the main roster, who knows how they would probably be pushing his character. They probably be pushing him a little bit better than the FBA wrestlers, but still not great. I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying you Ace D Shutura, but what a lot of people like to do is they get all hyped because someone is doing so well in NXT who's black, or they have a lot of notoriety, or just shit is just going well for them. And then they're like, oh yeah, well when they go to the main roster, they're going to be a star, and then they get treated like damn Carmelo Hayes. So I think that there's a lot of that goes on too, and people kind of get overhyped before something like that can happen, which is why people need to stop jumping the gun and thinking that just because somebody is going to be a star in NXT, that means that they're going to be a star in the main roster. Because once they get up there, I mean, it's a whole different ball game. So I think people just need to just kind of hold their damn horses and wait to see kind of what WWE does. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. The past 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, like I said, there's been weird treatment, disrespect as usual. That's per usual of the black wrestlers that are in WWE and just in pro wrestling in general, but definitely in WWE. That's going to be the point here. Somebody else said something. B-Fab overlooked. They got her back as a manager again. B-Fab is severely overlooked and she's underrated. I actually really like B-Fab's wrestling, and I'll be honest with you, I think that her mic work is actually incredible. I think that she's just as good, if not better, on the mic than like an Alexa Bliss. I know how y'all remember how Alexa Bliss could just get on the mic and then everything that she said, it just kind of made sense. It was just gold. She was really good on the mic. It's like that, except just better, in my opinion. And then her wrestling is actually pretty decent. Matter of fact, I think that B-Fab is what people anticipated that Jade would be. That's just my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. I think that she's better than Jade, but she's what people thought like Jade would turn out to be. I agree. I like B-Fab too. Yeah, she's got it all, in my opinion. She's got it all, and her clothes, like her gear, is fly too. So that's another thing that I like about her. But yeah, some of the things we're going to be talking about, we'll go into things about Naomi. We'll be talking about Jade, New Day, Carmelo, Street Profits, and your boy Ron Killing. So we're going to kind of go into all of that. And again, there may be times where I may go all over the place a little bit, but that's just to tie into the point. So let's start off by talking about Naomi's title reign. Okay. So one of the things that I had said in the past about Naomi's title reign is that the leading up to her actually getting the belt was some horse shit, because they were literally making her look weak. I mean, literally every single week, like Jade Cargill was just beating her ass. Like literally every single time that they would interact, it would always be Naomi trying to do some chicken shit stuff. And then it would be like Jade would catch her up and she'd be tossing her around like a damn rag doll. And then everybody would come out to break it up. I don't know. To me, I felt like they weren't even like preparing her to be somebody who was either a menace or even someone who kind of, again, like a typical chicken shit, like somebody who like did something real slick and they were able to slip out the ring while everybody else was fighting. Kind of like, think about 2015 Seth Rollins. It's 2015 Seth Rollins. They didn't make him look like this big ass behemoth per se when he had the Money in the Bank contract. But what they did was they made him an extreme chicken shit. They made it where, he would cause some type of controversy. He would have like thousands of people behind him. And then they would, beat down everybody who he was facing. And then he would run out of the ring with the briefcase. Like he had that kind of mentality. They don't even really do that with Naomi. They had it where literally every time that she met Jade, Jade was putting the hands on her. And that's just what it was. Her promo is more raw. I agree. Her wrestling style is versatile as fuck too. I agree. And she got them long legs and she can just kick the hell out of people. So that's one of the things I kind of like about her. I think she uses her body, like her body frame and things like that pretty well. And if you ever look on her Instagram, you can see that she trains really hard to, get her wrestling down pat. So, B-Fab is definitely where it's at. I just think that, WWE is not promoting her as a big-time star, despite the fact that she has all the qualities. And the reality is that a lot of these stars who they actually do kind of put out there, they aren't even as good as her. Like, they like a lot of these WWE fans and whatnot, they have an obsession with Chelsea Green. Like, I know like they kind of been dimming her fire a little bit as of late. But, I looked at her wrestling and I'm like, B-Fab is a better wrestler than her. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you compare, people as wrestlers, because Chelsea Green is tall and so is B-Fab. So that's why I'm comparing the two of them. Taller wrestlers a lot of times have a certain style. And with the women, there's a certain way that they tend to wrestle. Like they either tend to wrestle like in a power-based style or they tend to kind of use their body and whatnot to their advantage. Chelsea is tall. Chelsea's like 5'8". I believe. And then I think B-Fab, what she got to be like 5'10" or something like that. My point is that like they both are tall, but you can tell that B-Fab is just like a better wrestler just overall. And she hones her style better. But you know how it is and you know why it is the way it is. But anyway, going back. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on with Naomi's title run, even before like she actually got her title run. Me personally, I did think that it was going to play out differently than how it played out. I did think it was going to be a thing of, WWE was going to have Tiffany Stratton's racist ass face, Jade Cargill. Jade would take the belt off of her. And then like Naomi would cash in on Jade, who was already tired. Like I thought that they were just going to kind of go with that because it was a simple story. But then they kind of swerved us and had her just move over to Raw, which I mean, that's interesting, but I think that they had an opportunity for great storytelling and they missed it. Either way, I was happy that she had the belt. But ever since she's had the belt, it's like, I noticed a few things. The first thing I noticed is that they still wanted to keep Rhea Ripley and Io Sky in the title picture instead of having her have fresh opponents. And part of the reason why this is a problem is because if you look at Naomi, not even Naomi, I'm gonna take her away from it. Look at like the people who are being promoted as big time stars on Raw. You don't see a lot of like women's wrestlers who are being promoted as big time stars outside of like Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And the reality is, even with them, Rhea Ripley is, in my opinion, I think she's overrated. I'm not a big Rhea Ripley fan. I think she's kind of stiff when she wrestles. She's not a bad wrestler, but she's stiff when she wrestles. That goth clown stuff, I don't really see the appeal personally on her. I just don't. The mommy thing, I don't get that either. It's just I just really just don't really care for her that much. She's overrated to me. Io Sky is a great wrestler, but that's all she is. I mean, she has, to me, like outside of her being a great wrestler, that's literally all she's got. And even the way they face turn her, I won't go into that too much. That was weird too. My point is that they don't really have a lot of big time stars who are women outside of the ones I just named. So it felt like they had to repeat some things as a result, which is why I would have been low key against, this being a thing in the first place. Because what they really could have done was they could have had Naomi win the belt, either cash in on Jade or Tiffany or whoever. And if they wanted to have Jade win it back, they could. And then that could start like later a feud between Jade and Bianca, since they're beefing and they still haven't really explained what the beef is, or at least what Jade's problem is with Bianca. So to me, like I felt like that was an opportunity for great storytelling, and they purposefully just kept dodging it. And a lot of them dodging it, in my opinion, is because they've been trying to promote Tiffany Stratton's old mayonnaise smelling ass, to be honest. Let's see here. In reality, B-Fab is a better wrestler than 50% of the women, low-key, like Rhea, Chelsea, and Alexa, to be honest. I'm going to take it a step further, Devon Deadly. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think it's even higher than 50%. I think she's better than probably about 75% of the roster. To be quite honest with you, outside of Jade Cargill, most of the black female wrestlers are better than most of the roster. I think that Bianca is better literally than the entire female roster. Naomi is better than the great majority of the roster. I can't think of a lot of other black female wrestlers. Like I said, there's a few more obviously, but my point is that like the black female wrestlers in general, are just better. I mean, that's just what it is. So, going back to the whole Naomi title reign thing, another thing too is I've noticed that the way that they book her, they don't really book her like a dominant champion. And they also don't treat her like a dominant champion as well, too. The marketing isn't there. The way they make her look, like when they try to make her look like a star, that's not there either. It's like she has to try to create her own momentum, and she has to create her own promos, and then she has to basically sell her own merchandise. Because let's be real, that whole proceed with caution thing, that's some fly shit. I actually kind of like the whole caution gimmick. Not only is it the best gimmick that Naomi's ever had, is one of the best women's gimmicks, if we're just being totally real. Everything about it just works very well, and it's very unique, and it makes you feel like you're watching a different Naomi, despite the fact that we know that she's good. Zelina, yes, that was the other person. I was trying to think of the other person. Zelina is very good in the ring as well too. I think Zelina is also an underrated wrestler, so I agree with you, Devon. What did my wife say? I was mad when they cut her off when she was talking. We gonna get there, baby. We gonna get there. You already ahead of me. You are mounds ahead of me. So anyway, instead of booking her as a dominant champion, they keep having these stalls and injecting this uncertainty about her being champion, and is she going to vacate? Is she pregnant? And all this other stuff. And again, the momentum even leading up to it just wasn't good, right? It's like Naomi is carrying her character because she's funny as shit. Like, this woman is hilarious. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that promo where Naomi was she was like talking about Stephanie Vaquer. Like, literally every Stephanie Vaquer promo was actually funny as shit. But that last one especially, I was cracking up when she said she gonna take them horns, she was gonna shove the horns up her ass. That shit was fun. I'm telling, I was in there. My wife and I, we were in there dying when she was kind of faking her, doing the lip and stuff like that. She was mimicking her. I was cracking up. But my point, though, is that Naomi is carrying, her character because of her humor and the way she's cutting promos. And you'll see a lot of these, male supremacist fans who will sit there and they'll talk about Naomi, she's gotten so much better, or people saying they hate her laugh. And that's what they always do. When Black women are successful and great and awesome and all this other stuff, everybody wants to hate and low key kind of shove their racism down and coat it in some type of legitimacy. They try to make sure that they're pointing out something else other than the fact that they're Black, although we know that's the reason. Look at how they talk about Naomi. Naomi has always been decent on promos when you allow her to actually talk. Everybody's just used to her coming out and glowing and dancing around and twerking and shit, and then not really speaking. Or they have her saying some crazy shit, like that time she was talking about snatching old girl bald and all. They want her to act like a ratchet Black girl. So I think that people are saying that her versatility on the mic is limited because WWE has made it where what she is saying and the way she's able to say it is limited. So that's why I say that I think that a lot of these male supremacist fans are trying to create this false shock because of the fact that they're ignoring all of these things that have happened in the past. Zelina and Naomi got the most eccentric and unique wrestling styles and gears too. I agree. I like both of them, but I really like Naomi's thing. Naomi really has honed a very interesting style. It's like kind of acrobatic, but she uses her body a lot, when she does these matches. She does, she uses like her legs, her ass, all types of stuff to attack people, which I think is really cool. But there's also a level of like acrobaticness and whatnot when she actually does this type of stuff, which I can kind of appreciate. Her gimmick is also really good as well too. And again, like, she definitely has a very cool gimmick with this whole PWC thing. Regardless, my point in saying all this is that I think that even with her making all the efforts that she can make to present herself as a credible champion, a credible villain at that, in this case, I think that WWE is doing whatever they can to stunt that. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I do not know what they're going to say on Raw on Monday. And there's been a lot of these kind of weird kind of trolling moments as well too going on, where Naomi is she's like, it's a thing of she can't wrestle because of an injury. There's rumors that she's going to have to vacate the title. Then she's doing a podcast with Jimmy Uso, and they're talking about people are like, is she going to announce the pregnancy? Then she doesn't on the podcast. And then it's a thing of, wait till she has an announcement on Raw. Like, they're doing too much trolling and stalling and then trying to pull out these random stops that kind of take away the momentum and shift the conversation from it being, hey, she's such a great villain, she has such a great character, to, this is going on with Naomi, that's going on with Naomi. Is she going to have to vacate it? Is she going to have to leave the title? Is everything okay? Like, it's kind of, it shifts the conversation to something else than what it should be. It's all about injury talk or pregnancy talk versus how great she is as a champion. Let's see. Yes, both Naomi and Zelina are good. They played Zelina and they're trying to do it to Naomi. I agree 100%, Lady Ty. Jakara Jackson, before she got released, she was good on NXT, but Lash Legend got more of a higher ceiling than her. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of shocked, but I'm also not shocked about the Jakara Jackson thing. I'm shocked, but I'm not. I'm shocked, but I'm not, because I think that Lash Legend is a what I would call a on the darker skin side of Black women, and she is a foundational Black American, and that alone makes me feel okay. She's not going to be seen as somebody who's marketable, but she's also like a bigger woman. So they may try to push her as somewhat of like a giant. And I think that's the reason why maybe she got more attention. That, and then on NXT, she had like the thing with the relationship that they were teasing with Trick Williams, which created a good storyline. So they were trying to make it seem like Jakara was just like background filler. She was just a part of that whole metaphor thing. So to me, though, I did watch her wrestling as well. I thought that both Lash and Jakara were excellent. Both when I saw them in NXT matches and when I saw them do some things on the main roster as well too. So when I heard that she actually was released, I wasn't surprised because I know how WWE does, but at the same time, if it was based off of talent, I was a little bit surprised by that because she was good, to your point. Going back to Naomi, though, I think that they're trying to stunt her reign. I think that they've tried to start her reign since she started. And it's one of those things where I think that there's a part of me, like the tinfoil kufi is on for a second. I'm putting the tinfoil kufi on. And I talked about this with wrestling with racism. Shout out to those brothers as well too. If y'all are not following that podcast, y'all should go subscribe. Wrestling with Racism, where they uncover, as they like to say, white truths. We were talking about this for a while, but they were talking about how we need to analyze the reason behind why Naomi is champion in the first place. And one of the things that I had to kind of think about, and what's in my head, is that part of her being a champion is because it was somewhat of a token gesture, or maybe even an ultimatum. There's some of that going on. I think that Naomi left the company one time because she was pissed off because of the way that her and Sasha Banks, who was now Mercedes Moné, were treated. And basically, I think that Naomi probably was ready to walk her ass out again if they didn't give her the belt. So they, as probably a token gesture, said, okay, we'll let you win Money in the Bank and get the belt. And maybe this might be their way of trying to end it off any way that they can now that they gave her what she wanted. So that's why, to me, I'm thinking that this might be part of what is going on, because it's interesting that every time Naomi gets the belt, there's always some weird controversy. Because even when she got the belt the first time, because she got the women's title and whatnot, it was like she had to vacate it, and then she got it again, and then it's like they're teasing that again. So there's a part of me that feels that they gave it to her just so they can say they gave it to her again and gave her what she wanted. Otherwise, she was going to leave the company once more, and another one of their veterans is now gone. So I don't know. That's my take on it. I think they always knew that Naomi was capable of great things. I just think that they were stunting her ability to be a proper champion. But again, that's my take. Let's see here. Now, one of the things I want to talk about now is, and I want to move on to Jade Cargill. So I told y'all before my opinions on Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is beautiful. She's beautiful. She's muscular. She looks great. She literally looks like the person who should play Storm just by looks, just in general, like looks alone. But Jade Cargill is, as people have said before, not the best wrestler and not the best on the mic too. She's not as bad as people are saying, but she does need a little bit of work. I think that people dogpile on Jade Cargill because she is Black. Now, she is non-FBA, so I do need to point that out, but she is Black, and regardless, racists are still going to say shit about her. My point here is that Jade Cargill is she's okay in the ring and okay on the mic at best, but she has a great look and she has a great like appeal to her. She has one hell of an aura, basically, as they like to say. But one of the things that I noticed is that there's been talk about her possibly not being pushed anymore because she was recently kind of pushed when they had her in a feud with Tiffany Stratton. Now, there were already a few things that were wrong with this even before SummerSlam, but I want to talk about the things that I kind of noticed with that whole thing, because that's a big deal with, again, the disrespect. With Jade Cargill, they definitely wanted to push her to the moon because again, she has the look and the aura and the aesthetic. But I also noticed that in her feud with Tiffany Stratton, it didn't really necessarily feel like a feud for a couple different reasons. Number one, there isn't like this level of like a lot of times, like sometimes you'll see like tweeners and somebody's a tweener, somebody is, they sometimes face other faces, sometimes they face other heels, but with Tiffany Stratton, I think Bubba Ray Dudley may have said it, which this is one of the things that he said before, I guess, that I agree with. But he said, what actually makes her a baby face? I agree with that. What the hell makes Tiffany Stratton a baby face? I mean, she's still bitchy. She's still annoying. She still whines. She still says Tiffy every 5 seconds. She's still somewhat antagonistic in her tone and weird. So I don't really understand what makes her a baby face. And with that being said, I don't think they're creating this traditional idea of one person being a babyface and one person really being a heel in the story. And they're kind of making it random and weird. It's kind of like the motive is to keep the belt on her no matter what alignment she's in and how people feel about her. It's just to just push her as much as possible. Feed the bitch a bunch of legends so that she can be looked at as a legend her damn self, although she really ain't all that great. And then other people can kind of like come in, when they need to and feud with her. That's kind of how it felt with her in the Jade feud. It didn't really feel like it was a thing of two people who are in a feud because one is good, one is bad. And then that could lead to building up maybe like somebody who was either an underdog or somebody who's trying to come into the championship. It just felt like, let's just give Jade another opponent, let's just give Tiffany another opponent so that we can feed her somebody else and she can even become more credible than she was before. So I think that's kind of how they were already positioning it. Now, one of the things I noticed on SummerSlam, which by the way was complete ass. SummerSlam was an ass show, like a complete ass show. So anybody who saw SummerSlam and they said it was good, your ass is either blind or you're just lying like hell. Like, damn well that SummerSlam was not a good show. My point is that on that show, one of the worst matches was the Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill match. Anybody who watched it knows that that was a god-awful match. Now, a lot of the story that people like to have with this is that the match was messy because Jade was botching a lot of moves. Jade was awkward. Jade was not really doing her thing, which is, when you watch it, it's bullshit. They both sucked. They both sucked like hell. Both Tiffany sucked and Jade Cargill sucked as well too. And so a lot of these white supremacists who are fans who probably were watching SummerSlam for their damn trailer park were going around saying shit like, Tiffany, dude, she couldn't rescue the match, dude. Like, they were kind of explaining for Tiffany, saying that, she tried to rescue it because she's so great, but she couldn't because Jade is so awful, which is some bullshit. I watched that whole match. I watched Tiffany be awkward in places. I watched Jade be awkward in places. It just was a whole shit show, just generally speaking. So I say all that to say that they took that match, which was just bad, a disaster in general, and they tried to put the whole damn thing on Jade. They said it was bad because it was Jade. It wasn't bad because of Jade alone. It was bad because Tiffany and Jade both just had an awkward match with poor chemistry, and that was just poorly done. And as a result, they're going to take that, they're going to use that, and they're going to say that, well, we're going to move Tiffany onto other, contenders. Because even with Tiffany, I noticed that they're kind of spinning the block with a lot of the competitors as well, too. Like, even like one of the promos, I noticed that I saw kind of like a mini clip of this. Nia Jax looked like she was getting reinserted into like the feud between them. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, they already literally had her face Nia damn Jax like 40,000 times. Like, how many times are they going to have this bitch like literally face Nia Jax? It's because what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep Tiffany as a champion for as long as they possibly can in order to basically say she has all this credibility, all this star power. And I want to be clear. I want to be very, very clear when I say this. I don't just dislike Tiffany Stratton because she's a flaming racist. I do not like Tiffany Stratton because I don't think that she's that great of a wrestler. And I think on her mic skills also need work as well, too. I think that when she speaks on the mic, the reason why she gets by is because she says Tiffy every 5 fucking seconds. And that shit is annoying as hell, y'all. It is annoying as hell. And I personally cannot stand it. And anybody who says that she is just this spectacular champion and they can look past the racism because of the fact that she's great. They're lying to their damn selves too. They're trying to find a way to be different because there's nothing great about damn Tiffany Stratton. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox about that. My point is that Jade was becoming disrespected at this point because Jade is somebody who, in my opinion, was already not really being put in a serious feud that people could get behind, a serious story, a serious leading up to her getting the championship, nor do they want to give it to her. If anything, they're abandoning this idea that she could really be, a champion in the first place. But honestly, they really should have kind of built her up by having her feud. She feuded with Naomi. If they wanted to have her feud with Bianca, I get that Bianca was injured and stuff like that. But they had opportunities to like push that story more than what they did, and they didn't. And so then they tried to push her into the Tiffany Stratton thing so they could feed her to her. So, Jade isn't somebody who we're going to be thinking about anymore. So I think that they were trying to cause her downfall by not giving her a good storyline and whatnot. And then when she had a bad match with Tiffany, who also was mediocre in that match, they try to pin all the shit on her. Now, next thing that we need to talk about is the New Day. Listen, the thing about the New Day is I have a lot of stuff to say, right? I just, when it comes to the New Day, I just hate everything about the way that they've been done. The New Day literally had a heel turn, right? Because of the whole Big E thing. And then the New Day, post the heel turn, literally came out to the ring and were booed out of the ring at least like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, right? Like every time they would come out to the ring, they couldn't even say shit because people were booing them so loud. And I'm listening to this feud and I'm sitting there like, first of all, I don't see what was wrong about what the hell they said to Big E. Dude wasn't present. And then you wanted to kind of flop your big ass in when it was time to say, oh, I see you all beefing, so I need to come in as your manager. I mean, they had been beefing for a while, and then you just wanted to just step the hell in. And then he literally just doesn't appear anymore. I mean, when is the last time we seen Big E on TV involved in that feud in any type of way? And also, too, it's not like they beat Big E's ass. They just hurt his damn feelings. So to me, like that level of kind of, heat was because they just wanted to do that already. But going back with the New Day, the heel turn is something that I don't understand. If they were going to make something just as big and significant as them getting angry with Big E and kicking him out of the New Day, then they should have gone and done something really great with their heel turn, in my opinion. Right? He came in really late. Plus, they were right. They were right. What they said to him was right. It's like, okay, yeah, you were injured, but you still could have had a damn neck brace, on walking around trying to help us and shit. It could have appealed to the whole baby face thing and whatnot. So there's a lot of things that they really could have done, right? But I think that Xavier and Kofi had a point. But going back though, yeah, with the New Day heel turn, I just don't really understand it. I don't understand the point of it. And then at some point, they gave them the belts. They gave them the tag team belts. Now, I told y'all how I feel about tag team championships in general in WWE. And my stance is still the same on it, which is that a lot of times they love to relegate black wrestlers to tag team belts because of the fact that there's like a hamster wheel cycle going on. It's this thing of them constantly going for the tag team belts, losing them, going after them, never gaining them, going after them again, then getting them years later, losing them quickly. And then, somebody else gets them and they go after them later and they do the same shit year after year after year after year. And then meanwhile, the people who are on these black teams, they never get singles pushes. They never get main event pushes, let alone they never are actually treated like, characters who have a real story that people can invest in. As an adult who don't watch WWE anymore, learning about its racism makes me feel betrayed. The thing is that most TV productions and TV shows, movies, etc., they have some form of racism in them, whether it's covert or whether it's overt. WWE is a special case, obviously, because with WWE, people never really concentrated on the racism aspect of it. So you may have seen like racist images in TV shows and movies and things like that. And people may have pointed them out or said that this thing was weird or that thing was weird, but seldom do people go out of their way to point out things that they see in WWE. So with people like me, and as I said earlier, wrestling with racism, we point out a lot of these racist incidents in WWE, especially as they, pertain to Black people. And the specific focus here is foundational Black Americans, but I talk about Black people in general and the things that I see. But when it comes to the racism in WWE, I think one of the reasons why there's a level of betrayal is because I'm not going to speak for you. I'm just going to tell you what I see a lot is that a lot of times people, when they were watching WWE, there are other things that you're getting from watching it other than just like entertainment. For a lot of like men, especially like for young boys, and I'll speak for myself as well too. There's a level of it's like a rite of passage almost to a certain extent. You see these wrestlers, they're cock diesel, strapping, athletic, and they're very confident. So there's a level of like masculinity that you see and that you aspire to have because of what you see. You find these things interesting, entertaining, and things like that. And then, back in the day, a lot of us weren't separating this is a Black wrestler versus this is a white wrestler. Now, if we saw a Black wrestler, that was cool, and we wanted them to win. We saw images of people who looked like us, sure, but we like to see this idea of a wrestler who was confident, cool, charismatic, and also, strong in how they portrayed themselves. So nobody really went back and looked at how are these people in real life? Like how do these people how are these people racist? Are these people actually good people? But then when you look back, you realize that a lot of these like white wrestlers were actually indeed racist. They did a lot of bad things, even beyond like them just being like anti-Black. They actually weren't good people. A good example of this is Hulk Hogan. A lot of people idolized Hulk Hogan for his wrestling and who he was as a talent, but if you literally look at like Hulk Hogan's history, he has a history of, anti-Black white supremacy and racism. And there's a lot of instances that show that. And this is somebody who like kids looked up to. Imagine your little kid who, little Black boy or even little Black girl, but I'm just going to speak on the little Black boys, and they're idolizing somebody. They're seeing their hero on TV, and their hero is somebody who thinks that they are a hard ER. Just imagine that type of shit. You know what I mean? That's what I think a lot of people are realizing right now, and there's a big shock with that. So to your point, Weapon X Eagles, I think that's the reason why why a lot of people feel betrayed, when it comes to the racism in wrestling. Now, with that being said, let's go back to New Day. One of the things that I really don't like about this whole New Day thing is that New Day, even with the heel turn, even with it just not making sense, even with it just being a bust and them just not going about it right, the New Day still literally played the hand that they were dealt. And they put a lot of humor into it. And I actually was impressed with what they did with this heel turn, despite the fact that they are being pushed like dog shit. I mean, you had especially Xavier. I'm gonna talk about Xavier especially. Xavier has really, really been the one keeping it alive the most. Now, don't get me wrong, Kofi and scribbling his mama out the picture and shit like that was funny. But with Xavier, it's like one of the things I noticed is that a few of the things that he does, it actually has gotten kind of catchy. Like one thing, for example, that I think is real catchy is when he does the "Thank God for the New Day." Like that actually is catchy as shit to me. Like me and my wife like found ourselves saying this shit actually. So that's what I mean by like that was catchy. Another thing too is, I noticed that he'll do like the Ric Flair strut, and he'll do this thing where he kneels now. And when he does it, I'm like, first of all, he does the strut better than Ric Flair his damn self. Let's start that. Number two, it's like you can tell that he's pulling out all the stops to try to keep their image and everything like that alive. And even when they're cutting promos, notice that the audience will boo him and he'll tell everybody to shut up. So you can tell that he's actually doing great heel work. So my point is that you can tell that Xavier especially is pulling out all the stops to keep this this heel turn and this gimmick, this new kind of dark New Day, keeping them alive. But the WWE has done everything that they could to make sure that they look like damn jokes. And they've even emasculated them. And let's talk about it. The last time that I watched the New Day, they were on TV and they were said that they were in mourning for losing the tag team championships. And do y'all know they had the New Day dressed up as a mourning widow who is wearing like the little black kind of like fringe looking outfit. Like they literally look like a mourning widow at a funeral. And even their clothes were kind of like effeminate and weird, and it just didn't look right. And to me, this was a humiliation ritual. This was this idea of turning them into jokes. And then like even beyond that, they had the New Day backstage eating pizza with a bunch of other stars who they're way better than, who also are in the lower card as well too. So I could just tell that they're moving them into this more of this joke. If they were going to do what they did with the whole Big E thing, they should have turned them into a big deal. Now, a lot of people are going to go on and they're going to say, the New Day has been around too long and this and that. But my point is, well, if you feel that they've been around too long, how about you break them up and make them single stars? They don't want to do that because they want to relegate them to being a tag team. And they're playing the hand that's dealt to try to do what they can with the gimmick that they're given. But while doing that, they're being undermined. And that's why they're being put in these weird positions where, again, they look like a grieving wife who just lost her damn husband at a goddamn funeral. Like, that's literally how they have them looking. Like if y'all can go back to the last episode or two of wrestling, of WWE. And I think they're on Raw. And they were wearing literally like a grieving wife's funeral outfit. Both of them were in some fashion. It looked really weird and just emasculating. Like this shit was an embarrassment. When I saw this, I was like, no. This shit is not even fucking funny. Because they're trying to do it to be comedic. It's not even funny. It's weird and it's strange. And then even sticking them with Grayson Waller, that's another thing they like to do. They like to take these black teams or black wrestlers and they'll stick them with somebody white. And the white person they stick them with will be like a joke, or they're somebody who is not really pushed seriously. And then it turns into this like unlikely duo bullshit. And then it turns into a joke, just generally speaking. And then that black wrestler is then seen as a joke as well too. Let's see, what are people saying? Triple H is an idiot for keeping Bruce Pritchard in WWE as his member of the WWE creative team. Triple H is a suspected white supremacist his damn self. Triple H wants these things to happen. I mean, think about the treatment that Triple H has given black wrestlers just over his time period of managing WWE. Also, even just think about the whole I don't see color thing. Triple H is telling you exactly who he is. So a lot of this is on his head because this is what he was trying to do. He wanted it to be an orchestrated thing where black wrestlers, especially foundational black Americans, were not being pushed, despite the fact that many of them had more talents than a lot of the white and non-black wrestlers who they pushed to the top. I agree. I remember that, and that was messed up. Yep. You and I both saw it. I was looking at that. I'm like, this shit's not even fucking funny. Like, they're trying to make this comedic, but ain't shit funny about them, having these two brothers look like damn wives. Like that shit was weird. It was just weird. So Carmelo and Miz. Yep, that's a good example of what I'm talking about. And we'll get to Carmelo in a minute because I need to talk about him as well too. But Carmelo is another good example of what I'm talking about when I say that they tried to take some of these black wrestlers or black teams and they throw somebody white on the team, and it's somebody who's usually not a white person they take very seriously, and then they'll have them make the whole thing more jokey, and then everybody will become a joke as a result. But it's done to make that black person or black team look like a joke. Let's see. Xavier needs a singles push. Xavier is another underrated wrestler. And what I noticed, because I said this 3 times today, because we talked about B-Fab, we talked about Zelina Vega, and we talked about Xavier Woods. A lot of wrestlers who are black are considered underrated. And they're not considered underrated because people just aren't recognizing their talent. They're considered underrated because they're black wrestlers who are not getting pushed because they're black. And in order for them to be pushed, they have to be exceptional. And even when they're exceptional, they're still stunted. That's why they try to keep Charlotte away from Bianca Belair as much as possible. Charlotte has to be Becky's rival. She had to be, rivals with other, white female wrestlers who they wanted to push as like that bitch. But they want to keep her as far away from people like Bianca because they know that Bianca's a better wrestler than Charlotte. Regardless of the fact, and I'll be real, Charlotte, you can say what you want about her. She's a great wrestler. Charlotte is a great wrestler. If I had to rate her wrestling out of 10, I probably would give Charlotte an 8. I'm just being honest. But she's not as good as Bianca. Bianca is literally a 10. Everything Bianca does is just clean. Every single move, every single movement, every single like flow, every single throw, every single flip, like everything Bianca does is damn near perfect. So putting them two together, they do not want their white woman who's made to look dominant seem like she's not so dominant. So they don't want to put her up against her. As well as the way they did Bianca. She was supposed to fight Io alone. Then they decided to add Rhea. Don't even get me started on that shit. I agree. I think that kind of, I think that was also like a humiliation ritual as well too in its own way. And the reason why I say that is because Bianca has a streak, or she had a streak, where she just wasn't losing at these WrestleManias. And they could have done something where Bianca was literally winning at all of them. Even if she wasn't fighting for a title, she was always winning. And it could have been like some Undertaker shit, where Undertaker was winning literally at every WrestleMania, no matter if he had an opponent for a belt or whether he didn't. And then they, had a big shock when Brock Lesnar broke the streak. And then at a certain point, like with Bianca, they just broke the streak for no reason. It was off of like some diversity ploy shit. It was a way to basically put over more Asian stars, or at least to say that we have diversity because, we promote Asian stars as well, too. And that's the reason why they had Io Sky win. Although Io Sky, really didn't, the build to that feud didn't really make any sense. The way that they were pushing it didn't make any sense. It really, the whole premise of their feud was Bianca Belair legitimately won her right to fight Io for the championship. Io was only there in the first place because she was being pushed as a diversity ploy. And Rhea was inserted into the match because she's a damn Karen. So that she's an edgy Karen. She's somebody who can go in and start whining and bitching and hoeing, and all of a sudden she gets her way, like a lot of white women do. So that's the reason why they made that feud the way that it was. Let's see. Montez jumping range is insane. His in-ring psychology is awesome too. Absolutely agree. Montez, in my opinion, and this is almost not even an unpopular opinion, is the best frog splasher in the game. Full stop. I have never seen anyone do a frog splash as good as Montez Ford. Really, all the black wrestlers kill it when they do it, but I've never seen anybody do it better than Montez Ford. So I 100% agree. There's no reason why this brother should not be champion right now, or should have not been champion a few times. Yeah, they broke that because she could have been the female Undertaker. Exactly. But that's the thing. If race doesn't matter and you see no color, then it shouldn't matter about her being a female Undertaker. That should be something that she should have a right to passage to do. She should be able to just keep winning and keep having this streak of always winning at WrestleMania against her opponents. But they didn't want her to do that because they didn't want to establish credibility in Bianca, despite the fact that she's phenomenal. And they're riding off the wave of fans booing her because they're racist. These European crowds were booing Bianca simply because she's black. No other reason. They can say she's boring all they want. They can say that, there's nothing to her. She doesn't have any aura. They can say all this shit about Bianca. But the reality is that Bianca is only getting booed, or was only getting booed, because she was black. It's as simple as that. It happened it happened like years ago, and it happened again in 2025. So that's why I say that the reality is that She is not getting pushed. She is not allowing her streaks to grow, and they're not allowing her to be seen as a dominant champion because she's black. It's really as simple as that. Um, Going back to another thing that I noticed too. I want to go back to New Day before I move on to the next one. Another thing that I kind of noticed about the New Day is even with their heel turn was different than, like, when you see how other heels maneuver and operate. Other heels get to be seen, with power and dignity while still having humor, but the New Day didn't. And what I mean by that is, like, if you look at teams like the Judgment Day and teams like the Bloodline, they were able to be heels, be powerful, be dignified and respected, while also being funny. Now, mind you, I don't really think a lot of what Judgment Day does is actually funny. I actually like Judgment Day better when it was serious, but that's, again, a personal opinion. But Judgment Day is allowed to look dominant while also being funny and silly and goofy. The New Day has to be literally a minstrel show act and then not be taken seriously and not be given serious, credible, like, belts and accolades and things like that. So I already know that shit is being done on purpose. I mean, you can just compare the way that heel groups are being done and just look at New Day and look at how they treat them. Dude, they even brought Brock back, and he's going through a case that's how you know they are racist, yet won't bring back out. I'm so glad you brought that up. Let's talk about that shit for a second. Not only that, I'm not undermining what you're saying, but not only that, I can go even further. They brought back Brock, and they brought back Nikki Bella's ass. And the reality is that if you look at the Odyssey Jones situation, what happened with Odyssey wasn't even as bad as what happened with Brock Lesnar, or the allegations of Brock Lesnar, or what happened with Nikki Bella. Odyssey Jones was accused of domestic abuse while vehemently stating that he did not abuse his the chick he was with, and also being found to not have been abusive. Meanwhile, Nikki Bella was in an abusive relationship with her, I think it was her ex-husband, and what's his name? Artemis or some shit like that. And dude literally in this relationship actually was the victim, from what I heard, because Nikki was sitting there throwing shit at him because, of over a damn English McMuffin, over, like, for her baby. So that told me alone that they were going to treat you differently, because of your race, even in a situation where domestic violence or some type of case or sexual abuse, like the case of Brock Lesnar, is being alleged, and you're still like let in WWE as somebody who is white or non-black. But if you're black, and if there's even an inkling of them believing that you have done something dastardly like domestic abuse or sexual abuse, they get rid of you. Think about what happened with Velveteen Dream, where they said that he was fucking with some kids, and then, from what I saw, that didn't dematerialize. That wasn't shown to be true. And they never offered an apology, nor did they give him his job back either. So you can see that there's a pattern of them looking at situations where things happen with black wrestlers, and they're saying, okay, this wrestler is a scumbag. We're going to get rid of them. We're not going to allow them to become a star. And even if they are found innocent, we won't rehire them. Whereas some of these white and non-black stars can be in the middle of some hot shit, and they'll still rehire them and also push them as well too. Because here's the thing. Some people could say, well, these things happen at different times. But here's the thing. The Nikki Bella incident and the Odyssey Jones incident, from what I understand, happened within 4 days. 4 days of each other. That is not a lot of time. So that tells you right there the way that they would treat a white wrestler versus the way they would treat a black wrestler in a situation where domestic violence or sexual abuse is alleged. And even with the added situation that that black person is innocent and that white or non-black person is not. That was full proof that this was a thing. Let's see here. People are saying some things. WWE putting Bianca in a triple threat match at Mania instead of her taking the title off of Tiffany. Result of that mistake, Bianca got hurt with a busted finger, missing most of action. I agree. I think that they were, obviously the finger thing is kind of just what happened as a result of the match. But I believe that, they were doing that because, it was, again, a way for them to break her streak and also to get rid of her credibility as establishing herself as a dominant force who has a lot of great accolades in WWE at the stake of, again, diversity. And these are why we need to point out these types of things, because a lot of times people are going to say that, we're reaching and this and that. And, these things are orchestrated in a certain way. And these patterns show that black wrestlers aren't getting the type of notoriety and opportunities that they deserve. So, I mean, it's obvious with Bianca. I mean, everybody knows that Bianca is the best women's wrestler in the company, arguably top 3 best that has ever been in WWE. And they are literally trying to, diminish her legacy. Salute, Kukolas. Black Couch Booking gave you a shout out, and I had to tap in. Keep up the great work you do, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping through and checking out the live tonight. Wow, I didn't know that about Brock. Yes, Brock is involved in the whole Vince McMahon thing, and they're alleging that, or at least there's some sexual abuse allegations that are out about him. So a lot of people actually were kind of fired up about Brock coming back because of that. That's why it was kind of like a controversial thing when he came back, and why you haven't seen him for such a long time, baby. I don't think me and you ever really got to talk about that. And ever notice they always assimilate every rapper to a flamboyant rapper type stuff. For example, Montez dude comes out with a cup. He's a Marine, for Christ's sake. Let the man be the new John Cena. Yeah, and also too, sometimes they be going wild with his outfits too. I also noticed they be having him come out looking like a gay cowboy. I don't know if y'all ever see that. Like he'll come out and like it looks like he got on a crop top and then the shit is like ripped up and he got on a cowboy hat and his pants are tight. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing with Montez, yo? Like, really, what are they doing with this dude? Let's see. Yes, he had a case with McMahon about trafficking some girl. They're the real life Diddy, but people won't boost it like Diddy. Absolutely. That is a perfect analogy. By him, I mean Brock, not Odyssey. Yep. I was gonna say I won't speak for my wife, but I knew exactly what you meant. Micho June, I think is how you say your name. Jerry Lawler had a pedo case back in the day, and many in the business have joked about him loving the ladies on the younger side. I'm pretty sure there was even more to that. Listen, I have a philosophy, y'all, when it comes to racism, and it's something that every black person should adopt when it comes to anybody who is white and you're exposing their nature, their behavior, and ultimately their racism. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Don't ever get into this bullshit where you're like, well, I mean, maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm reaching if I say that. Stop that bullshit. We live in a racist society. We live in a society that is ruled by white supremacy. And in that society, we are literally governed by a system that is going to be covert. They're not going to tell you in your face, or not much, I'll say, in your face that they are being racist towards you. You have to look at patterns. And you have to look at the things that people do and things that people say, because they ultimately reveal the nature of the climate that we are in. So when you hear things about people and stuff like that in the white supremacist world, don't take it with a grain of salt. Take it as a thing of there's probably more to this, because often that is the truth. There is more to that. It's rare when so-called rumors like the one that you stated are just a rumor when it comes to them. If anything, they are a rumor, but they're a rumor that has been watered down. Facts. Well, the Triple H Booker T showed how racist WWE was. Absolutely. That was a clear sign back then. Because like back then, when Triple H cut the promo, this is the promo. If y'all don't know, this is the promo that Triple H cut on Booker T. there was a thing where Booker T was going after the World Heavyweight Championship, and he was going against Triple H. He was feuding against him. And in this feud, Triple H had said something to the effect of how Booker T will never become champion because people who look like him do not become champion. And then he started degrading him. And one of the things he said was how he comes in with his nappy hair and his spinneroonie, and he thinks that he's going to become champion. So at the time, the audience was kind of booing Triple H and calling him an asshole. And what's funny is, even out of that degrading ass promo, Booker T still did not win in that feud. That told you right there what WWE thought about their black wrestlers. That should have been all the evidence you needed to know how they operate and how they are. Let's see. I figured out Ashanti the Adonis, a pretty solid wrestler too. Yes, I figured you were talking about Brock. Yep. Then they had the friggin' nerves to make black wrestlers into jokes, but have Timu Blacks, aka the Samoan. Oh, dog, don't get me started. Oh my God. With this Samoan shit. I had a reel. So I gotta tell y'all real quick story. On Instagram, I have a reel that was going viral for a long time. Matter of fact, motherfuckers are still commenting on this thing. Like, they literally have been talking on this reel for the past probably month. Like, that's how like viral this reel of mine is actually going. And I'm like, to this day, I'm looking right now. I got like how many notifications here? I got like damn 15 notifications of people commenting, like still on that same reel, where I talked about how WWE loves to do this $5 FBA agenda where they have all these Samoan wrestlers mocking and mimicking us in our gimmicks and portraying, Timu versions of us. Because you even have where even people like Jey Uso are doing, promos and saying things and behaving in the same way that, the members of Crying Time were. You have like, and then you have Jacob Fatu, and I'm gonna get started on his ass today, but you have him and his kind of like expressions that he does where he's trying to kind of mimic us and our culture as well too, with the whole I mean and all that other shit. And I remember there was one promo, he was like, I hate that punk ass police. And I'm like, dog, like this is just a shit show. So I definitely feel you on the Samoan thing. I peeped that as well too. And Rock is a part of this stuff, even though he's half black. He is, and he only reps his Samoan side. And I have a strong belief that there might be a little self-hatred there. I don't have any concrete evidence of it, but I have like a strong belief because I know that he wasn't getting along with his daddy, before he passed. And there probably, in my opinion, was a little bit of resentment because even now he literally hangs tight to his Samoan side more than he does his black side, almost to the point where people forget that he's actually a black man. So yeah. What do you think of last night's show? I haven't seen it yet. I'm still getting caught up, honestly, because there's a lot of it's a lot of shit that is going on in WWE, and it's kind of hard for me to ingest. I'm gonna be real with you. I've been telling my wife, if they take the belt off of Naomi, I may have to take a little bit of a break because I'm not gonna have anything to judge or evaluate. I like to watch wrestling for the enjoyment of it. But if y'all gonna take my favorite wrestlers off of there, y'all gonna mistreat black wrestlers and all this other stuff, I just need a break from that type of shit. So my point is that I haven't really watched it because I'm trying to get caught up, but it's hard to because these last few wrestling shows have just been hell. On the dark side of the ring, Marlena Goldust X stated that Brock exposed himself to her. That doesn't surprise me. Just and given the allegations, it really, really doesn't surprise me. I like Feebab. I like BFAB, but what evidence is there that she can go in the ring like Rhea? So that's kind of a broad question to ask, Devon, first of all. But I kind of want to chime in on that now that you decided to ask that. When you say what evidence is there, what do you mean by what evidence is there? I mean, I've seen the matches that BFAB has done, and it sounds like maybe you haven't. But I watched them, and she's actually done spectacular in every match. She may not have won every match, but I watched her athletic abilities. And when you say go in the ring like Rhea, really truly evaluate Rhea Ripley as a wrestler. is she a great wrestler because people like her, or is she a great wrestler because she has great athletic skills? I've seen many Rhea Ripley matches, and she is decent, but she's not as good as people say. And she's actually kind of stiff when she wrestles as well, too. Now, some people will say it's power based, but then if you put her power up against somebody like a Bianca, it don't really compare like that for real. So I don't know what you mean by that. It sounds like this kind of narrative where people already are not really behind, black wrestlers who are not getting promoted. So they just hype up white wrestlers who white people have hyped up thousands and hundreds of times, and then say that, oh, well, what have they done that has been as significant as this white wrestler who, in the case of Rhea Ripley, is stiff as hell. So I don't know. I just had to say that. I think Ashanti the Adonis is a pretty good wrestler too. I've heard about Ashanti the Adonis. Guys like you don't deserve to win the world championships. And then he later tried to clean that up and say it wasn't racist. It was part of the story. And they always do that shit too. Listen, let me tell y'all something. When it comes to the white supremacists, they do not like to be labeled as a racist or a white supremacist. That is the worst thing that you can call them. And because as soon as you do that, it's like raid to roaches. They'll start scrambling for whatever explanation they can get to make sure that they try to excuse their racism. They love to, as I tell my wife, be a thing without being called a thing. They love to be racist without getting the racist label. And the reason why they do that is because they know that if they are literally labeled as a racist, as a white supremacist or whatever, that leads to a loss of opportunities. That leads to a loss of notoriety and respect, which later for them leads to a lack of money and resources. So that's why that's one of the worst things that you can do is to a white supremacist is call them a white supremacist. And what we need to do is collect data on when they do things that are actually racist, because what it shows you is traces of who they are and how they would behave in certain situations that involve black people. So that's why we want to label people who we suspect as white supremacists, either speculated or suspected white supremacists. AAA is set to undergo gentrification due to WWE's influence. I got a question to ask you about Samoans. Okay, go ahead, shoot. Tez don't need to be the new John Cena. Just be the first Montez, however that looks. I can fuck with that. Still not happy about Jacob Fatu saying the N-word. You need to go check out my reel. I did a reel about that. Matter of fact, I did a whole video about this shit. But matter of fact, all of y'all, if you haven't yet, go check out my video about Jacob Fatu and him saying the N-word. I did a whole analysis on this topic. Excuse me. And I want y'all to check it out because I talked all in depth about this, because a lot of people are trying to justify it by saying, oh, well, Jacob Fatu, he's black himself, or they'll try to say, well, he's just being himself, or they try to say stuff like, well, he grew up in the Bay. These are all bullshit ass arguments. Number one, Samoans are not black. Samoans are not black. Samoans have Melanesian lineage. And these are darker skinned people who had like the blonde hair and the kind of, I think, blue eyes. Like you see like the children in the Solomon Islands. They kind of have that type of DNA. But they don't have African DNA, which is different. And they don't have black DNA, which again is different. Also, too, this whole thing about this Bay shit, they're in the Bay. This is them being themselves. They're being copycats. That's the thing. Because they had a certain culture when they were back on that dusty ass island of theirs. And then when they came on here, they came to America, which was like what? Was it 19, I don't know. When did the Samoans come here? Was it 1950 or 60 or something like that? Hold on one second. I don't want to just be saying anything. When did Samoans? It's I'm trying to remember because I had it written down somewhere, but I thought it was like the 1950s or the 1960s or something like that. But anyway, my point is that they're Johnny come latelys. So they were mocking a style that was already there, that was already established by foundational Black Americans, and then doing that. So when people say, oh, they're from the Bay and this and that, yeah, that's because California in general was influenced as a culture by foundational Black Americans. So anybody who came in and lived amongst them would emulate the culture because they saw it as cool. That's why we have influential presences all over the world, because, you know, people really gravitate to our style, our swagger, our aura, and all types of stuff. So a lot of them will emulate that. So to say that this is him being authentic, it's like, well, his authenticity is already mockery. It's already, cheap mimicry of a culture who already established some shit. That's really what it was. They tolerate the disrespect. Many times they are released, and often, many times, they have money to start their own league, but they opt to go independent to Japan rather than starting their own company. Well, I agree with that take. It doesn't eliminate the racism itself, which is what we're talking about, but I agree that they need to start their own thing, and we'll get into that later. So I don't want to get too far ahead there. Let's see. Her recent matches on Main Event with Julia, Candice LeRae, Roxanne, and Chelsea Green, and that triple threat on SmackDown, and her match against Charlotte, she's pretty good. She is good. I think some of that B Fab, is she really that good conversation is because people really ain't trying to pay attention. If you have a wrestler who's hyped up all the time and people are saying she's so good, she's so great, you're going to probably think the same thing after a while, even if you really haven't evaluated it. I evaluated her wrestling. It's spectacular. And from what I've seen, I think that she's gotten a few chances to show herself, but that doesn't mean that she's not spectacular. And I think her mic work is even better. So that's why I'm saying, like, to the comment about, oh, what does she have there? Whatever, comparing her to Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is stiff as shit. Like, she's okay, but she's stiff. What does this next person say? Jacob really wanted to say punk ass. I know. He's just itching to say the shit. The shoe stealing storyline of Bronson and Roman. What about that scene? Not the first time he said that. They then return back to WWE or wherever the pattern continues. Use your brain cells. What's up with the passive aggressive talk? Use your brain cells. I don't know if you're talking to me or if you're talking to everybody else in the audience, but I need you to chill the hell out. Talking about some use your brain cells. You use your damn brain cells when you come on my damn you come on my damn live. So you chill your ass out. Next person. I get it, but the reason you say the first Montez, but what I mean is in position, like how John Cena is a big Marine wrestler. Okay. Rock dated only white women. So yeah, it's self-hate. WWE is flat right now. Even in the NFL, I'm not even going to read your shit because I need you to calm your ass down talking about use your brain cells. Bro, Rhea is a steroid goofy, but come on. If many girls like Io can beat her, why can't B-Fab? Sounds like you have a bias, man. Are you talking about me? Are you saying that I have a bias against Rhea Ripley? Or I just want to clarify what you're trying to say. I don't really have a favorite black wrestler in WWE. They're all in AEW. Swerve Strickland, Bobby Lashley, Powerhouse Hobbs, Private Party. I like a lot of those people. Now, I haven't seen AEW as extensive as probably you have, but I've kind of seen clips of stuff, and there's a lot of pretty good wrestlers there. I agree with that. I don't have a favorite black wrestler in WWE. They are all in AEW. Okay, already read that. Okay, it should also be worth knowing that those are matches with women. Okay, so y'all are just having a conversation back and forth. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing. It's a lot of comments in here. Hold on one second. I'm gonna try to graze through this. Not you, the dude Hawking, the dude who said something about BFAB. Okay, got you. Okay, fair enough. Okay, we on the same page. I just was trying to make sure I understood who he was talking about. Yeah, that's fair, but respectfully, she can hold her own matches, and her in-ring psychology is good. She's smooth in the ring. Okay, we Latino pro wrestling, we good. Bingo. From here on out, they all get the permanent Hulk Hogan Scarlet letter. His legacy will always be anti-black racism. Yes, sir. That's what we're supposed to do. Sorry about the typing. My phone keeps auto-correcting the thing, making me seem dumb. I apologize. You good? I just trying to make sure I understood. Rhea Ripley looks like a damn man. She looks stiff as shit. She looks as stiff as a board. And I don't really get the hype. Everybody always talks about how she's so sexy and all this other stuff. I don't get it. Do y'all see? Is there something that y'all are seeing? Like, really, put in the comments, y'all. Please let me know. Do y'all really find Rhea Ripley attractive? And if you do, what would y'all give Rhea Ripley out of 10? Like seriously though, like, do y'all really think that Rhea Ripley is really that bad? She looks like a weird goth clown. Her face looks puffy as shit. Like, I don't know. I can't really get with it. Everybody got their opinion, their preference. But for real, y'all, tell me in the chat. Do y'all really think that Rhea Ripley is really just like one of the finest chicks on the roster? And like, don't even compare her. And I'll say this too. Don't even compare her to to black wrestlers, to black female wrestlers. Compare it to other white wrestlers. Do y'all really think that Rhea Ripley is the shit? Okay, I'm gonna keep talking about some more shit. But I'm gonna let y'all like comment on that while I'm doing my thing. By the way, what's poppin', Tori, and salute? So let's talk about Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is a wrestler who is absolutely phenomenal. If anything, dude, as Wrestling with Racism said, I agree with them on this. He's overperforming. I mean, this dude literally has pulled out all the damn stops at this point when it comes to him and wrestling. I mean, this dude literally said that this dude literally has put on match after match after match that has been absolutely spectacular. I mean, I have never seen him be in a match where he was even average. And what I noticed is that they literally have not pushed him whatsoever. I mean, he's been in all these random feuds with a bunch of mid-carders or low-carders, and like he's overperformed in them. And anytime he's in a match with somebody who is, you know, a high card performer like a Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton, he's even done well in those matches as well too. Like, I can't understand any reason why this dude is not being pushed outside of the fact that he is black. Now, what a lot of people are going to say with Carmelo Hayes is that he is not being pushed because of his size. That's bullshit. That is straight up grade A bullshit. And let me tell you why it's straight up grade A bullshit. Carmelo Hayes is 5'10" and 210 pounds, right? So a lot of people are like, he's the little guy. He's the little guy. Bullshit. Look at all of the little guy wrestlers who have been in WWE who have been pushed to the moon. Let's talk about this shit for a second. Let's just talk about it. Seth Rollins, who is a white Hispanic. He's 6'1" and 217 pounds. Seth Rollins, who is, no, not Seth Rollins. Daniel Bryan, who is 5'10" and 210 pounds, the exact same size as Carmelo Hayes. AJ Styles, who is 5'11" and 218 pounds. And then Cody Rhodes, y'all's boy, who is 6'1" and 220 pounds. These are all quote unquote little guys. I could go even further. I didn't even talk about CM Punk, but I'm just saying these are all little guys, or who WWE would consider little. And mind you, they've all had multiple championships, like the main belt I'm talking about. AJ Styles is a 2-time champion. Cody Rhodes is a 2-time champion with a pretty extensive run in his first run. Daniel Bryan is a 5-time champion. He's a 4-time WWE champion, just regular champion. And then he's a 1-time world heavyweight champion. And then Seth Rollins is a 6-time champion, y'all. A 6-time champion. Like that's some shit. Those are some serious accolades. Carmelo Hayes has not had any chance to even contend for the belt. Like, let alone like get the championship. He hasn't even been able to contend for the belt. Yet and still, every single time he is on screen, this dude is overperforming. And then they love to do with him what they do with a lot of black wrestlers, which is they stick them with some white dude and then they make it a joke team, like the Unlikely Duo, who have become best buddies, and then they're just silly. Carmelo Hayes is an excellent wrestler, and he has the swagger, the charisma, and the athleticism that goes along with it. And yet and still, he's not pushed. So he too, as I said, is disrespected. And here's another thing people aren't even talking about. So let's just take away the fact that dude is a complete athletic freak show. This is a dude who also is pretty good on the mic. I mean, he is a grade A shit talker. So you have everything that you need, but you don't push this dude because he's black. And you try to excuse it by saying, oh, he's small. That's the reason why he's not being pushed. He's small. So let's see here. I'm going to try to go to the comments, y'all, but y'all done overwhelmed me with the comments, and it's kind of hard to get to everybody. So I'm going to kind of pick and choose certain things real quick. Bro, not only them, I notice all the female wrestlers have a black style to them, especially goofy ass Tiffany. Her whole face is altered to seem like a baddie. Even the friggin' songs sound hip hop. I agree. I agree 100%. It's like she's like this plastic Barbie, and they try to kind of give her a little bit of flair, but it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't really work. Rhea Ripley looks like, okay, I already saw that. They ain't tapped in. That's why they sleep on her and underestimate B-Fab. Exactly, Devon. That's what I'm saying. B-Fab is actually a really good wrestler. I just think that people are looking at the fact that she hasn't had a lot of matches and didn't just evaluate the ones that we've actually seen where she's actually done really well. And they may also look at the fact that she's lost in a lot of these matches because that's the way the story is being set up, is for her to lose, and not at the athleticism component. But I've seen B-Fab's matches and they're great. And again, I've also seen her Instagram where she's training a lot, and I can tell that she takes it very seriously. And then what she does, she's very good at as well too. She's a lot better than a lot of some of these other stars we've seen. And yes, I do believe that she's actually a better wrestler than Rhea Ripley, to whoever was trying to like low-key cape for Rhea over there. Certain fans say B-Fab is not good in ring, yet they praise Karrion Kross, who in my opinion is not good. There's nothing special about Karrion Kross. I mean, I think that people find his gimmick and his aura interesting, and they literally conflate that with him just being a good wrestler. But in ring, he really ain't that special. I'm gonna be real. Let's see here. Black wrestling fans need to stop watching WWE to make their voices heard. I don't disagree with that. I just don't think that black fans are going to stop. So the only thing that we can do is be an aid by calling out the racism that we see and also pointing out patterns of behavior, the same way we do with media. What I mean by media is like TV shows and movies and things like that, with regular media, that is. And then in the meantime, while we're doing that, when we use our platforms to call these things out, we invest in trying to create our own things. That has to be the move. But that doesn't mean that we stop talking about it altogether. I know we had a little solution Samboism where people were bitching on the chat a little bit earlier about how we need to use our brain cells and shit. But my point is that we need to focus on actually calling out the bullshit and the racism, and then use that to actually create something that's constructive. GBS salute. Yep. My question is, do you think WWE is using Samoans to use our culture to please the audience because they are a lighter complexion than the brothers? Yeah, and I think there's more to it. Josh, I think that the other part of it too that people need to realize is that they push Samoans because The Rock is there and he has some influence in a lot of them getting pushed, because that's why you see so many of them regularly in storylines that we see all the time. And for me, I think that a lot of them are willing participants because there's so many of them that do mock the culture in that way. And so as a result, they have them portray gimmicks that we would often portray, like in WWE, but in an exaggerated way. So it's a way of basically taking our culture, putting it onto somebody who is not of our culture, and then creating this kind of cultural disparity where, what we have created, our intellectual property, is shown, but we aren't shown using it. I'm glad you point out Rhea being stiff in the ring. Her matches with Raquel and Nia prove that. It's the truth. Nobody wants to say it. She's really not that great like people are saying. I simply don't get the appeal of stiff ass Rhea Ripley. I mean, I really don't like in any way either. Wrestling, I don't get it. Aura, I don't get it. Like in mic work, she's just a fucking Karen. And then literally in looks, she's just not special, y'all. I don't know how else to put it to y'all. She's not special. She's a 9.5 out of 10. Man, get out of here. A 9. You think Rhea Ripley's a 9.5 out of? Get out of here, dog. 9.5 out of 10. Okay, I gotta know. Okay, just you, Ace Shutara. I gotta know. Who is a 10? And also, too, who name a few wrestlers who are below Rhea in looks. I gotta know. 9.5 is crazy. 9.5 is crazy. 9.5 is so crazy. Oh wow. Babe, I remember you said that you thought Rhea is pretty. I don't see the appeal of Rhea. She looks like a goth clown. She looks weird. I can't really get behind it. This mommy shit, that don't work for me. The Like even like the whole what is it? Even the accent, that don't really do it for me. The like her doing like I know she kind of sexualizes herself. I don't see what's sexy about her. I just don't get it. I truly just don't get it. No, the shoulder blade too broad, can never do missionary, gotta be back shots. She looks like a Decepticon. Yo, hey, that shit is funny though. I find Rhea attractive regardless when she looked like Samus, Dark Samus, you name it. Okay. All right. So some of y'all actually do like Rhea Ripley. Rhea back in her NXT days when she was a lot more feminine is 8 out of 10. Now it's like 7, which to my standards is mid. Okay. All right, that's fair. I think that might be part of it too. I like a more feminine woman personally, and she's kind of masculine to me. I don't really like that, like shit to me. I think like everybody made a big deal about it, but Liv Morgan is more attractive than Rhea Ripley to me. Some of y'all may not think so, but I think so, and it might be because she probably is more feminine too. Rhea isn't my cup of tea. The piercings, the tats, they don't do it. B-Fab looks 6 times better than her. I'm not sure why you said 6, but I agree with you. I'm not sure. B-Fab kind of got she kind of got like a what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe like an auntie type of look to her, an auntie type of vibe. But she is pretty. And she's real thin, but she's pretty. I think he's trying to say if Io can beat Rhea, why can't B-Fab? Because they aren't pushing her, but she's really good. Melo's one of the reasons back in 2023 why I started back watching NXT for sure. By the shoulder blade, I mean Rhea. Her upper body is way too long compared to her waist. this commenter got measurements. Only black women have a balanced physiology, which it when it comes to being muscular but also sexy simultaneously. Remember Rey Mysterio? He definitely is the little guy. He is. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Montez is for sure damn sure better than Dominique. That dude is goofy as shit. I don't take Dominic seriously as a wrestler, y'all. I don't know what it is. I just can't take him. I'm not saying he's bad or anything like that. I don't understand. I don't know. I just can't take him seriously. I still see him as Rey Mysterio's son, who like was him and Eddie Guerrero was fighting over his ass. I just can't take him seriously as a competitor, let alone like a luchador Mexican type of wrestler. I just can't do it. Rhea Ripley will appeal to some. I have seen her without the black hair dye and goth makeup. She's an average-looking Aussie woman who lifts weights. There are other white women in WWE who are prettier. I agree 100%. Honestly, I think, I hate to say it, but if you take away all the goth shit, I think she's less attractive. I don't know. Like, she's already not my cup of tea, but she's even less attractive when you take away the goth shit. I don't know. Just my opinion, though. That's my opinion. Let's see. Exactly. The booking of Carmelo sucks. Cool cause. What do you think of Shawn Michaels? He's my favorite wrestler of all time. And second, be Carmelo Hayes. I did not like Shawn Michaels. I'll be honest with you, Ace. I'm still waiting your answer about like that whole Rhea thing, by the way. But going back to your question, I'm not a fan of Shawn Michaels. I thought Shawn Michaels was overrated. I think that, like, it's funny because a lot of people felt that Dolph Ziggler was a copy of Shawn Michaels, but I actually thought that Dolph Ziggler was a better wrestler. I don't know. I wasn't really a big fan personally. I wouldn't put him in my top. I wouldn't put him in my Mount Rushmore. And there's white wrestlers I actually like, right? There's a lot of white wrestlers that I think are dope, but he's just not one of the ones that I could gravitate to or really get down with. No, the Rhea Ripley appeal Cool Colas is the gothic style, and Rhea is not no damn 9.5. Exactly. She ain't no 9.5. my man Ace D. Shatura said 9.5 for Rhea. I can't get past that shit. I cannot. Liv is way better. She is way better. Liv does look better than Rhea. Jakara, Athena, Zelina, and B-Fab look prettier than Rhea. I agree with all 4 of those. I 100% agree. Especially Jakara. Jakara Jackson definitely looks a lot better than her. They all look better than her, but yeah, especially Jakara. She has broad shoulders. She does. She kind of looks. Her shoulders is broader than mine. My shoulders are kind of broad, but her shit is broader than mine too. So yeah, I don't know. It was kind of weird. Let's see here. Jada Parker's fine as shit. I ain't gonna lie. Jada Parker is a very beautiful woman. I know my wife is watching. She's side eyeing the shit out of me, but she is fine. My wife knows that she's beautiful too. Let's be real. Probably top 3 best looking in WWE right now as far as like the women. Anyway, going back, Street Profits. So the thing about the Street Profits is there's no real elevation to me. Like they just have them again in hamster wheel limbo, like I talked about before. It's one of these things where with the Street Profits, it's chase the belts, don't chase the belts, chase the belts, injury, chase the belts, don't chase the. It's the same shit over and over and over again. You know, I just don't. I don't. I think that they're trying to age them out, especially Montez Ford. Montez Ford has all of the qualifications that he needs to, or that a wrestler needs to be a champion, and yet and still they choose not to push him. But Montez Ford is still relegated to just being a tag team partner. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, and I've said this before. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Dawkins, low key, is better than just being a tag team talent. Dawkins should have at least been Intercontinental Champion at the very least, maybe even U.S. Champion. Montez Ford, there's no reason why he shouldn't be WWE Champion or at least contending for it. There's literally zero reason. Like the whole thing of them losing it to Wyatt Six and now they're in limbo and all that shit don't make no sense either. Everything about like the way that they're playing these characters is just, it's absurd. And to be honest, with the Street Profits, I don't think that it's going to get much better. And the reason why I don't think it's going to get much better is because, you know, I think that, you know, that I think that they're kind of, I think Montez is kind of complacent. And I think he's complacent even when you saw him on the like Cameron's podcast with Cameron and Mace. And they were sitting there, they were talking about how like Cameron was kind of like doing this little Macho Man Randy Savage impression, and he was kind of pushing back on some of the stuff that they were saying, and how the Street Profits they were champions at the time, and they were talking about how they're always going to have the championships. And you know, I could tell that Montez is saying what needs to be said so he doesn't get into this whole ordeal of messing up what his wife has going on, right? Now, obviously, like she's sidelined because of the finger injury and all this other shit, right? But at the same time, like I know that if he tries to speak up about certain things, he believes that it's going to hurt what is happening with Bianca, because Bianca has been pushed to be this big star, and she deserves to be pushed as a big star. She is phenomenal. Let's be real. But I think that he's not rocking the boat for that reason. And that's why he kind of saving face for WWE. Like, you know, he was saying shit like, oh, you know, we should give some other wrestlers a chance. You know, like it just, yeah, he's not trying to toe that line because he does not want to say anything that will hurt his hamster wheel cycle or Bianca and whatever little push that they may give her. Let's see here. I got more comments. Jada Parker all day. Callie Armstrong looking nice too. She is pretty. Jada is peak, then Bianca and Naomi for me. I'm kind of a Bianca head. Bianca is like number one. I go Jada Parker, and then I would go Naomi third. Naomi and Jada, I probably put them in the same area. I think Lash is pretty. Jakar is pretty. It's a lot of them that are beautiful. Jada's cool too. Jade's a little too on the muscular side for me personally, but she's cool. She's beautiful. Like just overall, she's got a great physique, but she's a little muscular, you know. That's why she's a little lower than some of them other chicks. But Femi, only black champion in WWE. I think the Joker hit Rhea Ripley with that toxin he uses. Hey, that's funny as shit. Hey, that's funny as hell. Sean Hickenbottom was a snake, a backstabber in politics to bury people from Bulldog to Vader. That's what I heard. He got people sacked to get himself out of trouble. I never saw him as a believable champion. I didn't either. I don't see what's special about Shawn Michaels. I've never really liked him. I've never thought that he was really all that great. I see the company he keeps. He was real cool with Triple H and all that. Now, a lot of people are going to try to big up him because he got all these like fine ass like sisters who are like in NXT. And then he's got like all of these other like wrestlers who are doing well in NXT, he's big on Carmelo Hayes and people like that. But my point is that like a lot of people are going to big up him for that, but they're going to forget everything that you just said, Castiel, like that Shawn Michaels really was, like you said, a scumbag and a snake. Nick, what's up? What's up, bro? It's Jeff. Jeff, what's popping? Glad you were able to make it. Saw the title of your live and had to tap in. I'm glad you did. I figured that you probably would enjoy this. I know you were a big wrestling head as well too. But yeah, I'm just kind of going through and looking at like some of the black wrestlers and the way they've been disrespected, because a lot of people won't highlight it, but I definitely see the patterns. Enjoying the discussion. I'm glad. Usually it's a great tag team split, so one, not both wrestlers can spread their wings. The Profits being still together feels stagnant at this point. It is. I think that they can split them up, honestly, and they could have them literally go after like certain belts. I could see Dawkins literally fighting for Intercontinental and or the United States Championship. Montez Ford, there's no reason why he shouldn't be in the main title picture. It's criminal at this point. So I think they're at this point they're literally doing it on purpose. Back in 2023, there is a perfect opportunity to push both of them in the singles competition without breaking them up, because Taz had a really great performance in the United States Chamber match. No, that's true. I remember that. I agree with that for sure. For sure. Ever since they always tried to make a new fake alpha male white supremacist figure, for example, Brock Lesnar, seemingly they're trying to turn Braun into that, but that Braun ain't Browning. Are you talking about Braun Breaker? Like when you said Braun, because the way you spelled it, it's spelled like Braun Strowman. Do you mean Braun Breaker? Lash has a higher ceiling than Rhea. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's not even questionable. Rhea look and style makes her utterly captivating in my eyes, and she's muscle mommy. Oh my god. I can't believe what the hell I'm reading. My dog said 9.5 out of 10 for Rhea Ripley. I can't. Jeff, like if you're on this chat, I gotta ask you, what do you think Rhea Ripley is out of 10? If you had to rate her out of 10, what would you say that she is? Please, for the love of me, please do not say no damn 9.5. I do not want to find out that you like goth clowns. I really don't. Bianca, Naomi, and Jay, the Yam Squad. Yes, sir. Yes, and yeah. Well, Jada Parker is part of the Yam Squad, bro. Jada Parker and definitely Naomi are Yam City. Let's see here. Montez Ford has been speaking up, but people don't watch the interviews. The Rock is the biggest support of Montez. Play Triple H. He is not going to let that happen because he hates The Rock. When has The Rock supported Montez Ford? I've never seen that. If you can kind of pull the receipts on that, I'll take a look at it, but I've never seen that personally. And Montez Ford speaking up, what has he spoken up about and what has he said? I would love to take a look at this if he has, because what I saw when he was in that interview with Cameron, dude was buck dancing. And I'm not trying to disrespect Montez Ford because I think he's a phenomenal wrestler and I'm a big fan of like his work. But what I'm saying is that I see that he is literally trying to play the field because he does not want to rock the boat. He knows he has mouths to feed. He knows that Bianca has a certain level of success and he's not trying to rock that. And it was clear when he was in that interview with Cameron that he did not want to rock the boat whatsoever. That's why he was making excuses, about why he wasn't on the WrestleMania card, despite the fact that him and Dawkins were tag team champions. So that's just what I saw. If you saw something different, you go ahead, you put it in the chat so we can all see it. Don't take it for granted because I don't trust Shawn Michaels. I mean, the dude is friends with Triple K. You don't find that suspicious in my Umar voice. Most def. Still to this day, I learned a lot from Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart matches. Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle is one of the greatest matches ever, but we can agree to disagree. I'm not really comparing like if he had, who had the best matches or whatever. I just don't think he's that great of a wrestler. So, and I mean, like to me, like I don't beyond like yeah, I think like people throw a lot of dramatic emotion behind his matches, but I don't think that he's actually a spectacular athletic performer. I think is my point, and I think that if you hear and listen to a lot of these white supremacists talk about how great he is and whatnot, then you're going to believe the same shit as well too. I just don't think that he's a spectacular athletic competitor. I think that he was all right, I guess. But they kind of like the whole heartbreak kid gimmick and the emotion behind it. And to be honest with you, I know what match you're talking about with him and Kurt Angle. I thought that Kurt Angle really carried that because Kurt Angle's a good wrestler to me. He was back when he used to wrestle for real. He was a good wrestler. So I think he carried that, but that's my opinion. So back to you, we can agree to disagree. Braun Strowman, they're always obsessed with this giga buff Viking like white dude. It's laughable, really. Braun Strowman was a weird case because with Braun Strowman, he ain't in WWE anymore. They got rid of him once and they got rid of him again. And you don't really hear too much about him. I think Braun Strowman was originally a good Wyatt family member who ended up turning into maybe a slightly better Big Show. I think that's what they were doing with him. And ever since then, he ain't go nowhere. I think Jada and Lash are attractive, and I wouldn't be dwarfed by them on my arm. That AKA Triple K. Rhea a good 6 on a nice day. Okay. So if you say Rhea is average, I can kind of fuck with that. I can fuck with a 6 out of 10. You said on a nice day too. my man said on a nice day. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Rhea's average at best. Exactly. Rhea is not that special, y'all. Yam-tastically talented chocolate for the win. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Jada Parker got so many yams. I'm surprised that she's mixed, to be honest with you, because a lot of the mixed chicks, they'll have like really really pretty faces, but then they won't be like bodied up. Besides like a like Alicia Keys and then like Tracy Ellis Ross. But most of the time, when you see a lot of like mixed chicks, like they'll have real pretty faces and they won't have no ass. Now I'm not trying to say like all mixed chicks are like that, but I'm saying like with Jada Parker, I'm surprised because she is mixed that she got that much ass. So let's see here. What other people saying? If The Rock was a supporter of Tez for real, he would use his power to put his time and status on TV. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. That person who made that claim earlier, I want to see them put it in the chat. I don't believe them. I'm just gonna be real with you. If you are still there, I don't believe you, but I'm willing to listen if I am wrong, and if you're able to prove me wrong and put it in the chat. Because I do want to know if he has done that so I can give him his credit and shout outs for that. For my research, I have not seen that, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. I just simply don't believe it. Let's see. The Montez and the Rock thing was in 2022. Okay, so it was in 2022 when it happened. Okay. Well, I'll check it out. And like I said, it could be possible. It could be possible, but I don't see how that's dematerialized into anything. I mean, where's the push been since then? If he's so high on him, why hasn't he put him on TV into more main event matches? Why hasn't he advocated more for him the way that he would advocate for, a lot of his Samoan family, like the Roman Reigns and the Solo Sikoas and people like that? Like, why aren't we seeing that same type of thing? Let's see here. All due respect, I don't need to hear from the white supremacists. I just watched some Shawn Michaels with my own eyes. No different how I feel about Keith Lee. Are you talking about Keith Lee, the wrestler? Like Keith Lee, the big guy? Is that what you're talking about? Check out the video how Montez Ford talked about his frustrations about not being pushed. Just look at the articles about The Rock pushing. But okay, fair. But I want to know, like, what did it dematerialize to? Like, where's the push since then? It's 2025. That was 3 years ago. And Montez has literally been in tag team hell since then. I mean, he's in the same revolving circle over and over and over again. So that could have happened, sure. But what has it just evolved into is my point. Now, I know y'all are making comments and stuff like that, but so I want to get to the last person I want to talk about, which is, Ron killings are our truth. My wife knows this. She's watching. She already knows what I'm about to say, but That Ron killing shit was so bad. I turned off SmackDown the last time I watched that shit. Like him going from being a stupid minstrel show, being fired from WWE on some racist shit, let's be real, being brought back because of fan outrage, and then made serious, and then made back into a joke. That was some bullshit. And what that shows you is that a lot of times these white supremacists, um they love to push this idea of token gestures. Sometimes they'll do token gestures to keep people quiet or to silence people. They know that people were rioting about our truth. They know that shit was wrong. They know that shit was fucked up. So what they did was they put him back on TV to get people quiet because they know people were going to be talking, although they got rid of him unceremoniously after aging him out, because Ron Killing's our truth, whatever you want to call this brother at this point, is in his 50s. This brother's in his 50s, and he's still performing even better than somebody like Seth Rollins, who was in probably his late 30s at this point. Like, dude is literally still an athletic freak show, despite the fact that he is in his 50s. This dude is almost geriatric and still incredible in the ring. And yet, and still, his entire career pretty much, well, not his entire career, but most of his career, he was relegated to being a minstrel show act and being a total buffoon. And then when they brought him back, they made him serious, and then they just recently made him a joke again. So they had him pantomiming and doing all this other shit with John Cena. I was like, just turn the damn TV. I couldn't watch the shit no more. Turn the TV off. Like, I don't even want to watch. I don't even want to see this shit no more. Turn that shit off, because that was some bullshit. And that literally solidified what I said. That solidified that that was a token act. That was an act of tokenism, where they were trying to basically make a gesture to say WWE is doing right by our truth by bringing him back and listening to the fans, only so they could just basically make him joke again. And that's what they've done. Because if they really wanted to give him a real opportunity, they should have pushed that dude to the moon, and he should have took that belt right off of John Cena. But they didn't do that shit. They had him in some weird feud with Aleister Black, kind of. They had him, attack and beat the brakes off of Pretty Deadly. And then at a certain point, it was, again, him being, John Cena's dick sucker. Like, that's just what it turned back into. So, yeah, I couldn't get down with it. I really couldn't get down with it, y'all. What are people saying? Jordan Grace, old school look was nice. Jordan Grace is all right. She all right. I really haven't seen like old school pictures of her, but she all right. I think Braun has a real life injury, like his leg is partially paralyzed. I did hear about that, but I know they let him go along with all of those other superstars. They let go of like Dakota Kai. They let go of Jakara. We talked about Gigi Dolan, like people like that. They let go. I think they let go of him along with those people as well too. I think that what I heard was that they were paying him a lot of money, and they thought that, I guess they were paying him too much money, so they had to let go of him as a result of him getting too much. But I don't know. Her thick look ? Who are you? Oh, you're talking about Jordan Grace. I didn't see Jordan Grace back in the day, so I don't really know what she looked like. I get it, but don't be too supportive of these white wrestlers. Remember, white people love to use black people for their benefits. Yeah, the thing about hulking is like I'm not trying to like be dismissive of your opinion. Don't think that your opinion is your opinion. You're entitled to that, even if I don't agree with it. My point is that I think that a lot of people tend to hype up white wrestlers like they're the best shit smoking, and Shawn Michaels tends to be in that category. And I think a lot of it is because of hype. I didn't really see a hyper talented wrestler, when I watched Shawn Michaels, to be honest with you. There's white wrestlers I like I said, Shawn Michaels just simply is not one of them. And matter of fact, like there's tons of wrestlers today that I think are far better that simply don't get pushed. And I'm going to be real. I'm going to say something that's controversial. You may not like it, Hawking, but it is what it is. Every wrestler on New Day is better than Shawn Michaels. I don't know how to say that. Every wrestler on New Day is better than Shawn Michaels. Matter of fact, every black male wrestler I've seen pretty much is better than Shawn Michaels. Our Truth is better than Shawn Michaels. Carmelo Hayes, the dude who he mentors, is better than Shawn Michaels. Damn, who else? Montez Ford is far better than Shawn Michaels. And I'm going to say something that you probably are not going to like, but it is what it is. Angelo Dawkins is also better than Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels really ain't all that. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. He really ain't all that. Let's see here. The Rock tends to overlook his black heritage, acknowledging it only when it suits him. Right. But my point with that is, then what's the point in dude or whoever, somebody has said something about, The Rock and Montez, then what's the point in telling me that he's a big supporter of Montez when he hasn't pushed him whatsoever? So yeah, it's clear that he's overlooking his black heritage on purpose. So even the statement of Montez being so great was just a token gesture because nothing has come from that. It took the Usos 10 years to break out. I don't worship any superstar or celebrity, regardless of color, like they God Almighty. I mean, don't get defensive, buddy. I think people are just disagreeing with the opinion, and that's fine. I think I just did some shit I don't like to do. I hate when somebody says and they say it's fine after they say something like that. My point is that, like, don't get defensive about it. I think people are just giving you their opinion. 100 on Ron Killings. I knew R-Truth wasn't going to be taken seriously, even though he had a character change. Yeah, I did too. Okay, all right. I'm not bashing you, just saying because I've seen some cooning with some wrestling fans, especially with Hulk Hogan. Oh yeah, you got to check that shit up front for real. So I mean, you can like white wrestlers. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with liking white wrestlers. There's a lot of white wrestlers that I think again are really good. But I even said earlier today that there you can say a lot of shit about Charlotte Flair. You cannot like the way she's getting pushed. You cannot like the nepotism. You cannot like, the possibility that she indeed may have been a racist herself. But Charlotte Flair is a good wrestler, and nobody can take that away from her. It is what it is. Nobody can take that away from her. But Shawn Michaels just isn't one of those wrestlers for me personally. I even also said Kurt Angle was a good wrestler. There's other white wrestlers who I think are great. I think that AJ Styles is a great wrestler. And to be honest, although he's not athletic at all, I actually like Kevin Owens' wrestling. There's a lot of white wrestlers who are actually good. Shawn Michaels just is just overrated. I'm just gonna put it plain. He's overrated. Yep, R-Truth is one of the most in shape wrestlers on the roster. I'd like to see him take that belt from Dominic Mysterio. Listen, Great Black Shark, I'm gonna go even further. I wanted to see him take the shit from John Cena. I don't want to see him in Intercontinental with Dominic. I don't want to see him in United States. I want to see that brother take the WWE Championship. I mean, dude is 53. He's been there for a long ass time and has not had one main belt run since he has been there. So I would like to see him with the main belt. So Intercontinental, that at this point, bro, that would have been a token gesture as well. Triple H most overrated ever. Ego couldn't let Sting get wrestling win. Triple H is, some people like Triple H. I just don't. I'm not really like the biggest Triple H fan either. And it's not just because he's racist. It's because I just wasn't the hugest fan. He was okay to me. He was also a little on the stiff side to me as a wrestler. I wasn't really the biggest fan, but I do think he was overrated as well. I don't think he was bad, but I think people think he's bigger than what he is. Bro, the power struggle going on. Rock and Triple H hate each other. Look up the guys and girls who are Rock people. Montez, Zelina Vega, Drew McIntyre treated like trash. Triple H is a snake. We're talking about black people. What does Drew McIntyre have to do with that, number one? And then number two, you said something about how there's a power struggle between them. That power struggle isn't going poorly when it comes to Samoan wrestlers. So are you trying to say that The Rock is advocating for black wrestlers and Triple H is just not letting them be on TV? Because I kind of want to see the proof of that, because I haven't really seen anything about The Rock really pushing any black wrestlers to the moon. Even if he did say what he said about Montez Ford, I haven't really seen that, because it sounds like you're trying to pin that on Triple H, which Triple H is part of that. True, right? But at the same time, let's be real. Like the Samoan wrestlers, they get over. Everything is good. I think he prioritizes that. It's clear that that was his priority, because the reality is that even if he praised Montez Ford is not the only spectacular black male wrestler. So and my thing is, one of the great ones was R-Truth himself, and he hasn't had any type of run. So I don't buy it. But if you can provide the evidence of it and how he's and what he's done, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I I'm just not seeing it right now. Ron since 2011 had been a joke. It's a shame because I watched him at TNA for years beforehand, which was treated a little serious and not a sideshow. My stance on Hulk Hogan is simple. I thanked him for being a pivotal part of making industry mainstream, and that's where it ends. He's a racist, pathological, lying piece of shit. I think people are allowed to like his wrestling. I just think that people aren't allowed to like. I just think that you're Samboing like big time if you're honoring him. Beyond that, like he was a flaming racist, and he would have called anybody up in here hard ER, and everybody in here knows it. So I don't have a problem with people saying that they liked his wrestling. I didn't personally. I also thought he was overrated. I'm being real. I thought that leg drop shit was some bullshit. All this shit didn't really do nothing for me. I don't know the what you gonna do, brother. Like I didn't care about none of that stuff either. I just he was overrated to me, and he was racist. But if people liked his wrestling and didn't like him, that's fine. That's fine. They're not going to do right by R-Truth. If they're not doing right by Mello, they're not going to do right by R-Truth. No damn justice, and it's infuriating. Then to watch Samoan cosplay as blacks makes me sick as fuck. Yeah, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. But what a lot of these Samoan wrestlers don't realize is that if you're going to act like a Negro, you're going to get treated like one as well too. And that's why they've been low key like kind of putting the shade on Jey Uso. Because I kind of read some of the ways that Triple H was talking about Jey Uso, and I was like, damn, how, like when he was champion, I was like, damn, is that how you talk about your champion? Like, what did he Triple H say? I don't want to like misquote what he said, but I thought it was something to the effect of like he's not the best wrestler, but you know, he gets the crowd going, or he says some shit like that. I'm like, that's how the fuck you talk about your champion? I was like, damn. Let's see. Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka really are good wrestlers on a higher caliber, low key. I have a theory about like a lot of the mixed black wrestlers too. I think they'll tend to push them a little more than just fully black wrestlers in general. And I do think that on top of that, they love to give a lot of mixed black wrestlers these kind of stereotypical black woman gimmicks. Obviously not Sol Ruka, right? But I think that does happen quite often. But to your point, though, I know you weren't trying to go into all that, Devon. Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka, I've seen their wrestling, and they are good. I get nervous as shit whenever Sol Ruka does that damn soul snatcher shit because I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, like if she misses that, like what the hell is gonna happen? Like you have to like make that shit has to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like the flip, the execution, it has to be spot on in order for it to just land right, look right, and her not come out with some type of weird ass injury. Like I kind of like it's a lovely looking move, but I kind of cringe because I'm like, if she missed, what's gonna happen? Like that's what I wonder when I see this. I don't think it's low key for those two. Facts. Most black wrestlers are better than Shawn Michaels. It's just the truth. Like literally, like I don't get the Shawn Michaels caping. Like it just I never understood it. I think people just like the Heartbreak Kid. They like the theme music. They like that weak ass kick. Like they just like shit like that. I don't know. Triple H out by next year. We'll see. I don't think so, but we'll see. Too Cold Scorpio is better than Shawn Michaels by a long shot. Yeah, I agree. I think both of y'all said, both Devon and AJ said that, and I agree with both of y'all. Shelton Benjamin was robbed of the WWE champion run. I agree 100%. It was fake damage control, and just to tell the fans to shut up, there's no other reason as to why they brought Truth back to do nothing with him. Absolutely. There's a great story to tell of R-Truth that he reminds everybody that he's a former multi-NWA champion and he just needs one real shot at the WWE championship. And they ain't going to give it to him. I'm going to be honest with you, Hulking. They ain't going to give it to him. I think that was a token gesture, and that's just as simple as what it was. Who would you say is the standard of wrestling? Because people say John Cena can't wrestle, and I don't see the difference between him and most wrestlers today. The standard of wrestling, that is a great question. When you say standard of wrestling, what do you mean? Do you mean like who sets the standard as in athletic abilities in wrestling, as in wrestling character, as in wrestling aura? What exactly do you mean by that, Brother Dodd? I'm kind of curious as to if you can elaborate on your question. Because to me, with John Cena, a lot of people say he can't wrestle. I think that to say John Cena can't wrestle it's a tad extreme. I think that it's clear that John Cena is not popular the way he is because of his wrestling ability. He's popular the way he is because he took he did cultural appropriation. He took a gimmick where he was mimicking black people, and he was kind of like this wrestling Eminem or some shit. And then he turned into a big ass star because white people love this idea of somebody, you know, taking our culture and then making something new of it without our face being there. That's why, like, you know, you had the promo where Vince was going up to John Cena and talking about "keep it up, my nigga." So like you already know kind of what it was. So I think that's the reason why John Cena is popular. But to me, he's just regular to me. He's regular as well. R-Truth was a beast in his prime. It's criminally insane that the WWE didn't push him to the moon. I agree. Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit is legendary. Again, another person. Say what you want about Chris Benoit. You can hate him for what he did. You can hate him for who he was. Chris Benoit was a good wrestler. Kurt Angle also to me is a good wrestler. Like I said, I'm not discriminatory where I'm not going to give white people their props if I think that they're doing a good job with wrestling. I just think that some of the people that you folks be hyping up aren't as great as you say that they are. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. It don't upset me, but if you try to tell me that Dave Otunga is bigger than Shawn Michaels, then what are we doing here? You're kind of caping a little hard for Shawn Michaels. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Zelina or Sasha Banks, skill for skill? That's a good question. They're like on the same level to me personally. I haven't really seen a lot of Mercedes Moné stuff. I hear a lot of people don't really like her wrestling. I know that Corey the Truth, he's a big fan of Mercedes Moné. He's a brother I follow on social media where clicked in and whatnot. He's a big fan of Mercedes Moné. I haven't seen her Mercedes Moné wrestling. As Sasha Banks, though, I thought she was good. If I had to choose one of them, I probably would go Sasha Banks over Zelina Vega, but I do think that they're both pretty good. Let's see. Montez and Bianca can be like Seth and Becky. Montez and Bianca are better than Seth and Becky. I mean, they're a literal power couple. I mean, it almost looks perfect. You know, the only thing that literally is imperfect about the portrayal of them, a black man and a black woman as great wrestlers, is the fact that I think they're trying to imbalance the scales. And what I mean by that is I think that they're trying to, well, this is what they were. I'll say this is what they were trying to do between 2023 and 2024. They were trying to push Bianca while keeping Montez stagnant, which kind of destabilizes the income and maybe even the roles to a certain extent. And then I think they try to play on that even in their TV show, because they had it where they were trying to create insecurities in Montez Ford, where it was like, well, you know, my wife is doing A, B, C, and D. What am I doing? You know, where am I going? They're trying to do that type of thing. And I think they're trying to promote this idea of her kind of being the breadwinner and also the stuff in the relationship, which is to imbalance the scales. I think they're doing it in a low-key way, or we're doing it in a low-key way. But outside of that, if we're just talking about the aesthetics of the relationship, I mean, Seth Rollins be cross-dressing, and Becky Lynch has been calling herself the damn man, which is just some weird-ass shit, and is played the fuck out. But Bianca and Montez as an aesthetic, they look great together. So I wouldn't even compare them, because Bianca and Montez are far better as just a look. Have the Usos ever put over Street Profits? Hell no, they ain't ever put over the Street Profits. Booker T is the reason why the Usos got their job, not the right. So all this Rock is helping his cousin is a lie. You don't think that the Rock is you? So you're saying that the Rock is not helping his cousin. You're saying the Rock has no influence on that. Okay. Cool call us. Hawk thought he was black and forgot he wasn't. Yeah, pretty much. Everybody get on the Rock, but a lot of Booker T and all the other black wrestlers are not trying to help anybody except Mark Henry. Mark Henry helped a lot of black women specifically. Like he wanted a lot of them to be successful and whatnot, for sure. But no, I think that there's a little twisting up of what actually really went on with Purvis's comments. Soul is a Meghan Markle of wrestling. She's mixed but passes. I agree. Logan Paul, one of the fastest rising stars. Yeah, they're trying to like normalize that social media shit and put him in there. Logan Paul, I ain't gonna hold you. He's not a bad wrestler, actually. He's not a bad wrestler. He's just, I just think that if they can push Montez Ford, who has the same stature and kind of style as him, they could push, if they could push Logan Paul, they like that, who has the same style as like a Montez Ford and look, like as far as like stature. I think they could push Montez forward. That's my feeling on that. Mia Yim really is a good wrestler. Shame that she gets screwed over opportunities all the time. I agree. I think it's a shame as well too. Let's see here. I mean, in-ring technicality. Who do I think sets the standard? For men and women. For men, definitely Montez Ford, to be honest with you. I mean, and we're talking modern Montez Ford for sure. Ford has everything. Dude has athleticism. Dude has incredible like acrobatics. Dude has great in-ring chemistry with almost anybody he faces. He's got the strength. He's got the look. He's got it all. With the women, I really think it was Bianca. I think Bianca literally has the standard. She has the gimmick. She has the look. She has like the strength, the great in-ring ability, the athleticism. Everything is just totally there. Like, I mean, they literally look great. They look great together. They look great separate. It's to the point where although they're married, it's not even a thing of it. You just associate them with each other. Like, in order for them to get clout off of each other, you got to think about the husband and wife duo. It's just a thing of they're together, but separately, they're both just spectacular. They don't bounce off of each other for notoriety because they both are very good. I think that in ring, I think even outside of just like I know you just asked about the in-ring technicality. I just think even beyond that, they're just not even involved in any scandals or anything like that. There's no weird shit rolling around about them. Like, they're just, a couple who seems like they're just, some great black wrestlers who are doing their thing. I think they set the standard because they both have the look and they both have the ability. But that's my opinion. Sasha is a belt collector. That's what a lot of people feel about her. I like the Sasha Banks wrestler. A lot of people don't like the Mercedes Moné. I haven't really been seeing her too much because like I haven't really been watching AEW like that and stuff like that to really tell you kind of my opinion on that. But I liked her as Sasha Banks. I think that she might be a little underrated because people don't tend to like her. Let me see here. Scorpio was very good. However, the guy did not have the face for the camera. Booker T versus Benoit, best of 7. Watch it. What do you mean he doesn't have the face for the camera? I understand that. Like, just out of curiosity, what do you mean by that? Let's see. Good point regarding Bianca and Montez, brother Kukolas. Yes, sir. The thing, I've been peeping that for a while because, like, with Bianca, I've been noticing that, they'll give her all of these like pushes and things like that. So it looks like, oh, it's just, they're trying to promote diversity for black girls and whatnot. And they're trying to have little black girls see somebody who is, on TV who looks like them. And mind you, again, I don't want to say that to undermine Bianca because I respect her work. I think she's a great wrestler. Matter of fact, I think she's one of the best women wrestlers of all time. I truly do. But I do think that some of the push or the extra push, as they would say, that they've been giving Bianca was because it balances the scales out of what happens with her and Montez. Because why is it that her and Montez are not both equally pushed the same amount? Because if it was based off of athletic ability and seizing opportunities, they both have done a miraculous job equally of doing that. So why can't they both be equally pushed in their own typical regard? That's because there's a certain agenda that's being pushed when it comes to the two of them. I don't think that this is an accident. I also don't think this is a coincidence because it's been years since we've seen any type of push for Montez Ford or Angelo Dawkins, but for Montez Ford, outside of him being a tag team competitor. So let's see here. I'm not going to be able to get to every comment, y'all, because I got a couple more things I want to say. So one thing I want to tell you all about too, and I kind of noticed this since we're talking about wrestlers and great talent. One of the things that I noticed too, y'all, is that a lot of these wrestlers, the black wrestlers specifically, they're very talented in the ring, right? But they are being used as pawns to put over white wrestlers who are just not as good from my perspective. You know what I mean? So like you'll see some of these wrestlers, they're good at doing flips, they're good at doing throws, they're good at doing all types of stuff in the ring. They have great ring awareness and all types of stuff. And then they'll put them up against white wrestlers or non-black wrestlers who are not as good or just as good or not as good in order to put them over a lot of times. And then what they'll do sometimes with black wrestlers who are very athletic is they'll let them be these circus acts. That's why for a long time when you looked at like Royal Rumble and stuff like that, look at how they were doing like Naomi and Kofi Kingston. A lot of times they'll have them doing all these little acrobat tricks where they'll start walking on their hands and like they'll jump from the ropes to the damn announcer table and shit. And then like they'll walk backwards or flip back on. They'll jump from one part to another. They'll jump from that to the ring post. They like to do little shit like that. So I kind of noticed that they like to do that with black wrestlers. They like to have them show off their talents almost by themselves. It's almost like they're in an isolated box and you can just watch them as a circus act, but you watching them is never them leading to them actually becoming some type of world champion itself. It's just this idea of putting on a show for you because they already have told you or shown you who they want to put as their main champion. And they typically do this in Royal Rumbles when they've already decided who they want to main event a WrestleMania. Let's see. I may have skipped over it. Did Naomi stop doing the rear view? That's what I thought, because I haven't seen her do that shit in a long time. Because she used to do that, and she used to do this other move where like she would I'm trying to describe it right, but like I don't remember what it was called, but like she would be on the by the turn, like on the turnbuckle, doing like kind of like a handstand, and she would be rubbing her ass in the person's face and then knocking them back. I don't know if y'all remember that move. I don't know what that was called, but I haven't seen her do that shit either. I was disappointed the black culture didn't celebrate the Bianca versus Sasha WrestleMania event a few years ago. That's a good point, Jeff. I ain't think about that. That is a great point, because that match was good. And that's why I say that I like Sasha Banks, because I see the show that she put on with Bianca Belair. I thought Bianca was one of her best opponents. I think it showed off more of Bianca's skill, but regardless, I think that there was definitely something to be said about that match, just generally speaking. Shout out to brother AJ Jones for the donation. I appreciate you. By the way, Colas has a book titled The Pro Black Blur Series. Yes, indeed. I appreciate you for shouting that out too, brother. So when it comes to my book, for those of y'all who do not know, I have a book. It's called The Pro Black Blurred Series, Exposing Anti-Black Media Tropes the Blurred Way. So for those of you all who want to get this book, y'all can reach out to me directly. Y'all can reach out to me via Gmail, Instagram, my website as well too. There's a couple places that y'all can find it. coolcolas.com for those of y'all who do not know the website. This book is where I talk about anti-black media tropes. So I break it down from the way it starts all the way to finish. So that's kind of like the whole premise of this book. I talk about different tropes that I see, different tropes that are pretty regular, people pretty much know about, but I break down the psychology. My whole intent with this book specifically, I just want to say this, was to break it down in a way where I kind of thought about it in the way that Francis Cress Welsing was doing it and the way that Neely Fuller Jr. was doing it. They thought about white supremacy as a science. And my content is the same way. I think about taking things from the beginning of where it's at and then looking at how we got to the point that we got to. They had their own theories and reasons as to why they kind of did what they did and how they created it. And so that's one of the things that inspired me to create this book as well too. I want a text that will help people to look at just media alone, because entertainment, it's got a lot of racism in it, y'all. So if y'all haven't had a chance to check that book out, y'all definitely are going to want to go and get it from me. And again, you can get it directly however. So y'all should definitely check that out. But again, shout out to AJ for the donation. Anyway, going back, there's an interview that Bianca and Tez did last year on the Pivot podcast, which they discussed it. That, are you talking about, AJ, are you speaking specifically about the issue I talked about where they're kind of like imbalancing the scales and kind of making it weird where one of them is being pushed more than the other? Let's see. My uncle can't stand HBK and it doesn't bother me, bro. We're just talking here. For sure. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I was just simply saying that, like, I just think, and that's why I say I just think a lot of people, I'm not trying to be passive aggressive when I say that. I'm saying that I think that a lot of people who like Shawn Michaels, not you per se, they push Shawn Michaels quite a bit because of the fact that he was hyped up by a lot of these white supremacists. So maybe not you, but a lot of people do that. They'll say he's the greatest of all time and all this other stuff. And I say a lot of people, I'm talking about a lot of black people will be, boosting up Shawn Michaels Michaels like he was just the shit. And Shawn Michaels to me wasn't really all that. Wrestling with racism, what's popping? I literally had mentioned you a few times today. I'm glad you were able to make it to the discussion today. But yeah, I mentioned some of the things that you actually had talked about, in some of your podcasts. So this is the guy I was talking about, y'all. If you guys are still here, you want to go and check out Wrestling with Racism. He and a couple other brothers, they break down a lot of content related to wrestling, specifically wrestling with racism and breaking down white truths as they pertain to hurting foundational Black Americans, or as they say, American Negroes, and disrespecting us. Caden is really cool. Keep up the great work, bro. We need more Black YouTube to speak up on a topic. Look at the Lotto Mosquito talk about this. I appreciate it, Purvis. I do. Let's see here. Her and Katana Chance are a really good tag team too. They did them dirty, specifically Katana Chance, because I watched her wrestling. Her wrestling was good. So yeah, I think they definitely did her dirty. They are the one true tag team. Should have been multi-champs. JYD had more charisma than Honky Tonk Man. He should have got the IC belt. I believe the reason why some Black fans don't give Bianca versus Sasha WrestleMania 37 more, in my opinion, is because of weirdness in the promotion of the match. I agree it should be discussed more. Yeah, I could see that. I do think that it was a spectacular match. I like the way that, I like the feud. I like the in-ring chemistry between the two of them. But I do think that it was just as a athletic show, it was a wrestling classic. So I agree with Jeff and him highlighting that, because it definitely was good. In a few days, it'll be the 10th anniversary of Bayley and Sasha's Instant Classic in Brooklyn. I got tired of them. Let's see here. Yes, I'm referring to the imbalance of the scales. Okay, I got to check that out, because I didn't know that they actually addressed that directly, but it would be interesting to see. So I'm definitely going to go and take a look. Let's see here. Yep, they were better than the Pure Fusion Collect. Don't even get me started on Pure Fire Collision. Like those three chicks, or as we should have called them, the stud line, and they really were trying to make that shit work, y'all. Like I was like, what was going on there? Like they knew it wasn't popping. Like the whole PFC shit, it was so bad, white fans weren't even really getting behind it. That's how I knew that shit wasn't really even anything to really talk about for real. So it's funny you brought that up. Oh, Shawn Michaels may have been Vince McMahon's booth. Hey, that's funny as shit. Just getting in, I appreciate it. Believe it or not, Shawn Michaels is a great talent, but he's a racist. Yes, I like I said, HBK, I personally am not a Shawn Michaels fan. I'm not a Shawn Michaels fan either. I did not like him. I thought he was overrated. So I respect your opinion. I just don't like him as a wrestler personally, but I understand why some people do. But going back though, I agree with you. He's definitely a racist for sure. But yeah, like I said, there's white wrestlers I like. It's just some of the ones I think people think are just great, I just don't think really are all that. And the list would include, for me personally, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. There's a few more, but those four specifically, I didn't really think there was anything that spectacular about them. I didn't really see anything special about them. Out of all of them, I might have liked Triple H maybe the most, but I just didn't really see the big appeal. Just me personally. They should have leaned into the Pure Fusion being the stud line. They should have. They were the stud line. I don't care what nobody says, because I kept fucking up their name every week, because I'm like, what are they doing with them? And then they did that weird ass like take your shot thing. They really were trying to push this shit hard. And then they got rid of two of them. And then Zoe ended up getting injured or something like that. And I was like, damn, it just was a whole bus, wasn't it? I remember Shawn Michaels said some racist stuff about The Rock's grandmother. That's why we never got the match between them. That's what I heard as well, too. I actually heard that. I heard about that story. So, yeah. Listen, y'all, I've been on here for almost 2.5 hours. I'm going to have to get off. I actually said I wasn't going to be on here long. I lied. This conversation got good, and I actually was enjoying it, So I'm glad a lot of y'all came through. There is a lot to discuss with this, right? But I wanted to kind of tackle the meat of some of the things that I've been seeing the past couple weeks and whatnot, and then some of the things that I see just in general. But the one thing that I want to leave y'all with is that I think that what we're seeing right now is obviously an erasure of foundational Black Americans in wrestling, Black people in general, but foundational Black Americans especially. And what we're really seeing is that a lot of them are probably not going to stand on business. And even if they do say a little something here or there, like a few of y'all maybe alluded to, I don't really see a lot of movement. I don't see a lot of them trying to start their own companies or any of that, anything like that. And much less any of them actually speak up about what's actually going on in the company directly without trying to hurt themselves. So I think that it's one of those things where they are going to be complacent. That's what we've seen. We've seen it with R-Truth. You know, he's 50 something at this point, and he hasn't really spoken up about it whatsoever. And we're seeing it with some of the younger talent, the ones that are in their 30s and that type of thing. But I mean, all we can really do, you know, on our end, especially as fans, is speak up about the racism that we see. And as I think Wrestling Racism said, everyone must advocate for the removal of Triple H and the white powers that be in WWE. I 100% agree. Those are the things that we can do. We can take action on our own and talk about our issues with that, highlighting the racism, highlighting what's happening with these different wrestlers, and then just like making our voices known and making our voices heard. We also got to ignore all that Sambo shit. There's a lot of people going on the internet. It's a combination of people. You got tethers, you got bots, you got literal Black American Sambos. And they're going around and they're trying to cape for a lot of these like white superstars, especially the ones that are racist. And you just gotta ignore them fools. Like a lot of them are just at the end of the day, people who they get into that whole trolling thing where they're like, oh well, just enjoy the show, and that type of thing. So it just, it's one of those things where you just got to stand on business. You can't worry about what a lot of these people are saying. And you can't worry about, even more so these racist fans who are just going to cape for the company and what they're doing, because, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to, champion for their white supremacist brethren. That's what they're going to do, So we just got to keep standing on business. I see at this point 21 people in this chat, probably not all 21, but most likely most of them are people who are willing to stand on business along with me. So I need y'all to continue to not just support me, but also use your own platforms to do the same thing. Talk about truth, talk about racism that's going on, not even just in WWE, but in TV, movies, and things like that, generally speaking, because trust me when I say it's out there and it's vast. And we barely see anything, to be honest with you, that does not have racism in it whatsoever. Other than that, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I definitely am going to have more to come. I'll have another poll for y'all to vote on, and then y'all can let me know which topic y'all want to hear about next. It may be WWE, it may not be, but you can let me know what you would like to hear and see going forward. Other than that, y'all, I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all's night. I'm going to have a few videos coming out soon. Last thing I'll say, I'm long-winded, y'all. I admit it, I'm long-winded. Got a few videos coming out, top 10 Shea Butter Sambas. That'll be coming out soon. Got another video coming out. It's going to be, what am I going to be talking about? Can Black men have fun? I'm going to be talking about some of these other issues that are going out as well, too. You may see me talk about the Sha'Carri Richardson issue. You may see me talk about R.A. Lennox, and you may see me talk about Umar, but who knows? Other than that, y'all, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.